What's up, everybody? Welcome to the After Chat. We're going to get right into your questions live, and we got a topic of the day. I want you all to be thinking, what is the best ham radio computer? I don't care if it's a laptop, computer, hardware-wise. What are you looking for when you get a computer? Is there something special? Or was there a computer that was very popular some period of time that maybe you can't get them anymore? Maybe they're only on eBay. I know the Tech Prepper's got that Lenovo tablet thing that he really likes, but I don't know. Is that such a good device? We'll talk about it. Give me a second.
Let's play a game and give us a call sign, and give us a call sign, or beat it. Let's play a game and give us a call sign, and give us a call sign, or beat it. Let's play a game and give us a call sign, and give us a call sign, or beat it. Let's play a game. Get your panties out of a twist and give us a call sign, or beat it.
All right. How's it going, everybody? I'm Josh KI6NAZ. Welcome to the After Chat. We take your questions live, and you can do that via YouTube, just with the little typey chat thing, or you can join us on Discord. The link is in the description, and you can see all the people chatting over there as well. It's simultaneous chat rooms. They are blended, so you can actually reply back and forth, which is pretty cool. I think pretty cool. So let's go back over. I still have my ham radio computer PowerPoint made that we never set a date on. Oh my gosh, you're right, dude. Wow. Okay, we need to get on that. We should talk. How I don't. Has there been any updates to it since then? Oh man, I totally forgot about that. Sorry about that, dude. Let's hop into the after chat here. It looks like a good crew of people. So thanks for joining us. Here we go. Let's see.
I had a bunch of friends who were. I've always wanted to do it, but I never had the space. And where I lived when I lived in California, I lived in an executive neighborhood in Tracy, where my backyard was. I had a 3,000 square foot house, but my backyard was 20 by 100.
How's it going, everybody?
Hi, Josh.
Hey.
See you later, buddy.
All right, so we're going to kick off the after chat here. Thanks for jumping on. Wow, there's somebody that's just emojis in the bottom. Change your name to something we can actually understand who you are, please. Otherwise, we might have to let you go because I don't know who you are. Anyway, welcome to the after chat. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July, stayed safe, and still had some fun. Yeah. All right, what we like to do to kick things off is we go straight to the Discord. Everybody on voice or text on the Discord. If this is your first time on the Discord, like our emoji brother there in the bottom, if this is your first time on Discord and you'd like to say hi or ask a question, the floor is yours. We give you priority. We'll do everything we can to answer pretty much all of your questions right now. So who wants to be the first one to break the ice?
I gotta head out. So y'all have a great night. 7-3s.
All right, take it easy, Alex. Who wants to be first to say hi or ask a question? Go ahead.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, go for it, Colt.
Alrighty, hey you guys, I just got a ICOM 7610. I just got rid of my Flex 6400 after some issues I had with it. And I am curious, I haven't had a chance to dig into the advanced manual or anything yet. But is there anybody that can kind of break down the receive antennas and all, the 4 extra BNC ports on the back? I know that one's for a transverter and the other ones, but is there something I'm missing about those 4 ports? I'm not looking at it directly, so I guess my question is there a quick breakdown of what that receive port actually does and what can I do with those ports there?
Okay, I had some chats going fast and furious in the background. So which radio was it again? Sorry.
No worries. It's the ICOM 7610.
Okay, you're talking about the BNC ports on the back?
Roger.
Yeah, those are for receiving antennas.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I need to dig into the advanced manual there a little bit more. I just got the radio yesterday evening,
Hmm.
and yeah, I was just a little curious. It's I don't know. I just was like kind of confused because of the two antenna ports on the rear. I was thinking like port 1 and port 2. One would be receive, and I guess I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around.
Well, I'll break it down into further detail. So, uh, you have two ports, two traditional SO239 connectors on the back for two antennas. So let's say hypothetically you had one antenna on 80 meters, and then you had another multiband antenna that took you from 40 through 10 meters. So you would use transceiver A to be your 80-meter antenna, and you transceiver B to be your 40 through 10 or whatever. And you could change this up in different ways too. Well, while you are on the 80-meter antenna, you might also have something that's just for receiving, like an active loop antenna, something that you actually put a DC connection to, and it's just for receiving. It's not for transmitting on. So the 7610 will allow you to phase the audio channels. You can put the receiving antenna on your left ear, and you can put your 80-meter antenna on the right ear. Or you can do what's called diversity receive, where you can actually monitor two radios at the same time. Because there are basically two radios in the radio. You could monitor the 80-meter on your left ear, and you can monitor the 40-meter on the right ear. And then depending on which antenna gets a better signal, it could actually phase internally to give you more of that side of the receiver from that antenna, like your receive antenna, than the other side of the antenna. I have an example of using this. I have a loop on the ground antenna, which is designed just for receiving. You don't actually put signal through it. And yeah, I had that to where one antenna was on my right ear and the other antenna was on my left ear, but I always transmitted out of my step IR Yagi that's on my roof. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, perfect sense. Yeah, very good. Thank you. And yeah, that really kind of helps. I need to get a some sort of receive antenna out. I've got a homebrew 80-meter off center Fred dipole up and a 40-meter in-fed half wave, and with 20 meters being the way that it has been as of late, it's just been really awesome. This receiver on this radio is unbelievable. I mean, coming from the main HF rig I used before, the 6400 I had for a very short time, was an FT991, and man, that receiver on that was just absolutely not anything compared to this. And anyway, not to get on a tangent there, but so going back to the B and C ports, there is a 10 megahertz reference frequency input. Do you know what exactly that's used for? That was my other question.
So it's for clock syncing, so that you have an accurate clock, so that your frequency is locked if you were to operate with another radio or something along those lines. I think that would probably be for running like a transverter for something higher frequency. I've never really used that on HF though. You could, I guess, hypothetically use that for no, because that's not going to work with FT8 because that doesn't sync the clock of the computer. It's just for stable time on the radio itself. Does anybody actually use that on the 7610, the stable time source? Okay. Yeah. So we end up using that often for higher frequency radios like microwave and stuff. You need to have an accurate time clock. And so what'll happen is you will have like a GPS signal that you get, but you may have other boxes that are a part of that chain that need to have shared time. And so you use like a time source, a time clock signal via some cabling to allow that to happen. Looks like Jody said something about time tracking for reference in the convo. Oh, where did he say? Where is it? Go ahead, Jody. Are you there?
Yeah, I just posted the graphic so you've got a visual to refer to the ports.
Oh yeah, no, I know that the ports are there, but the primary function of it is just accurate timekeeping, right?
Well, it is on other radios. I'm not going to speak for the 7610 directly.
I don't know of anyone who uses it, but it's kind of nice that it's there.
Yeah, very good. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it. I was just curious. Well, very good. Yeah, I've got a lot to learn with this rig, and it's definitely a lot of menus and buttons and different doodads. So I'll be messing around with those here this evening. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for kicking things off with some good questions. Those are great. Appreciate that.
Didn't Hayden Ham Radio DX do a couple videos on the 7610?
I don't know if it was the 7610 or the 9700. The 9700 had some time clock issues when it originally popped on the scene. And when you start talking about frequencies like 1.2 gigahertz and higher than that, yeah, that becomes vitally important.
Yeah, the 9700, the 10 megahertz input was not actually disciplining the TXCO.
Yeah.
And that's the reason they have that additional part that you buy. So I think the question was whether or not the 7610 has that same problem.
And that's,
but I don't know.
Yeah. And that's another kind of point that I already mentioned. A transverter will take your fundamental frequency output of your radio and then up convert it to a higher frequency. And so that's I'm getting other people saying it's accurate frequency on up conversion. So someone may take, let's say, 10 meter frequency, so 28 something megahertz, and then use an up converter to go from 28 to, I don't know, 1.2 gigahertz, for instance. That's just off the top of my head. I'm not basing that on anything. So you would need an accurate time source between those two devices to be able to sync frequencies accurately.
Yeah, I've got 2 meter, 220, and 440 transverters.
Yeah, so if anyone missed it last week, I was playing around with the Flex radio, and the topic of transverting came up because the Flex, the 6600, I believe, right, Don? 6600?
Yeah, 66.
They have 2 ports, I believe 2 ports, on the back accepting
2.
transverters. And so you actually are... Go ahead.
The 6400 only has 1 port for transverting, and the 6600 has 2, so you can do full duplex on the Flex with a 440 and 2 meter, and that run one on one, slice one on the other.
And that's really cool because then hypothetically you're buying an HF radio, but then you're putting a 2 meter transverter on one port, 70 centimeter transverter on another port, and then you can do full duplex. Why is that important? Satellites. So you could have an ASL rotor control satellite tracking antenna on your roof, and you're now able to use your Flex radio to track 2 meter and 70 centimeter satellites, which seems like a big pot of money that I'm going to throw into something like that. I could see myself doing that in the future.
Because if you're like, well, I mean, if you buy a 7610 and a 9700, I think you've spent more money than you would if you bought a Flex and transverters.
Probably. It'd be close. It'd be close.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I don't know. I mean, I like having the single radio and the ability to run, and literally with 4 slices, I can do 2 slices of HF and 2 slices for my satellite work, all on the same radio at the same time. Not that I would do that, but it is possible.
Yeah, so
lots
I was
going to ask you on field day, when you and Gordo were communicating with you were on the 905, what was he using? Because he was coming into you, several kilohertz lower. So
that is a fantastic question. I actually didn't ask him that, and I totally should do that. In fact, I'm going to bug Gordo about going down to his house and seeing his setup and maybe doing a couple of videos with Gordo. I think that's a no-brainer that I should have done probably years ago, because that I think is a really cool question, because I have a feeling that the 905 is pretty solid, and it was sitting there for a while just chilling, and it's running off GPS. So I don't know, but that's kind of the fun with microwave, is you got to kind of chase it down.
Yeah, I suspect he's using transverters, and this is exactly this conversation. Here's where the drift factors in.
Yeah,
well, I think Hayden's talked about some of his transverters, and he goes up to 10 gig.
I don't want. We're going back and forth on topics, but I do want to reply to King Henry VI. He's saying, you're not taking the Flex with transverters portable, though. No, I'm not. But I'm very much thinking of putting an ASL on the roof and getting a big old 70 centimeter antenna for doing a green cube. So I've already talked to the M Square guys. I just need to get that Flex and a transverter of some kind for 70 centimeters. And ooh, buddy. That's all. Yeah, there it is. Digital ranchers. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
So what you're saying is you'll be as tall as Digital Rancher is finally.
Yeah, my antenna will be at least. I won't be. But at least I'll have that. I'll have the vertical clearance. Yeah, definitely. All right. Who else is in the chat? First timers, please, that would like to say hi or ask a question. Come now. I see new people. I see them. I see people that I don't think have talked before. And I should say, just because you come back week to week, if you haven't talked before and you've been waiting, like, now's a good time. Jump on in there if you have a question. We'll take it live. All right, well, don't worry. I'll come back to you. But why don't we just turn right into the topic of discussion? I'll take any. So this is kind of an open-ended thing. Let's go either direction here, okay? So what I'm curious about, computing for amateur radio, right? You can use any computer for amateur radio. I'm not being picky on that. The
Sorry
show.
to interrupt, but I am here.
Oh, go ahead. What was that?
This is Mick.
Hey, Mick, first timer.
Yeah, I've been watching and listening for a few months.
Oh, right on.
Licensed in the UK in '83 and licensed in 2017 over here.
Well, very good. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for saying hi. Do you have any questions or any comments you'd like to make?
Not really, just announcing my presence.
Well, I appreciate
I live
that.
in a kind of remote place, so there's not a lot of local radio activity. Well, I do a little bit of HF.
Well, that's awesome, and thank you for hanging out. So yeah, if anything comes up and you want to ask a question or add your thoughts, feel free to do so. We welcome everybody's opinion here. And oftentimes, it's those multiple opinions that we get that actually lead to the right answer. I can't tell you how many times where I'll say something, and somebody go, Josh, you should probably also think about something else. And you're like, you know what? You're right. That's a better answer. So yeah, I appreciate that. All right.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoy your videos.
Oh, thank you.
Very refreshing. I like your passion.
Oh, thank you. I
Hats
appreciate
off to you.
Oh, thank you. Very nice. So cheers to you too. I appreciate that. Kluberick asks, is AREDN still a thing? Not only is it still a thing, we actually need to tap into AREDN again because we got to check in with AREDN. It's been a little bit of time. I know that I got to get the Mount Wilson AREDN node was down for a while. I actually don't know if it's back up and running. And so I've got to pull my dish back down. I got to reflash it. I got to do all the things and see what's going on there because, again, going back to this information repository in an off-grid kind of situation, I think AREDN is beautiful for that. This ability to share information without the internet while being, again, off-grid. What do we mean? No service providers, no power companies. We're running this off of solar, doing all that other stuff, right? That's what we want, right? That's what we're aiming for. So.
It looks like Mount Wilson is back online because it was last polled today.
Oh, good. Okay, then we definitely should do a live stream on that because I have a 5 gigahertz dish that is perfect for getting to Wilson. So.
Well, one thing, if I could ask, if you do that, is to find out what the current hardware that is available is, because that the hardware updates are what kill you in AREDN. And being able to buy them. I mean, Jason, even Frank in some of their videos has said, oh yeah, go here and buy this. Here's the Amazon link. And I've bought a couple of them and they don't work anymore because the hardware got updated. So that's been my irritation. It's been my irritation with AREDN all along. What I found is the sectional antennas tend to stay more current, I guess. But the like, I bought one of those Microtech routers.
Microtech, yeah, that little 4-port router.
Yeah, it does not work on 5 gig. And there was a hardware update, and the AREDN guys are, quote, still looking at it.
Interesting. Okay. I like I said, I got to go address that 5 gigahertz dish. I hope that they haven't discontinued it from support. That would suck. So I'll have to figure that out. All right. Kluberik then added a comment with AREDN. Is it legal to encrypt your traffic, i.e. HTTPS? No, so encryption is not allowed, period, on amateur radio. There is no amateur radio thing you can do where encryption is allowed. I know there's people who they believe that if you took your encrypted key and you posted it to a website and made it publicly available, that counts. I will not go down that road. Personally, I don't feel that's probably true in the letter of the law. But if they want to risk that, that's up to them. I'm not going to tell them. They're allowed to be an adult, make their own decisions. But generally, if you're doing encryption, it's not allowed on amateur radio. Nowhere is it allowed.
Slight comment.
Slight comment. Go ahead.
So there were some talks not too long ago about like having a WEP password on your AREDN or like ham mesh access points, because it's not encrypting it, but you're just providing an access point, because WEP doesn't really encrypt your traffic. How do you feel about
that? Well, your access point, you can have a password on that. Because that's using Wi-Fi. Because that's using Wi-Fi frequencies. It's when you're using the amateur radio frequencies that you have to not be encrypted. So if you're talking intra-network, that's fine if you're using Wi-Fi.
No, I mean like on the ham mesh or like on AREDN stuff, that you could technically use a passkey on it.
No,
because it's not really encrypting it.
I don't think.
At least that's what I was told.
Because well, you can't access it though because it's got a key. Right. So it's de facto encryption in the sense that you are barring off access.
True. Yeah.
Right. So the comment now don't get caught up in the technicalities of encryption being like, I took this ABCDEFG string of characters and I ran it through a 256 hash and I came out with this other stream of characters. That's true encryption. But if you're just guising or encoding the message in any way or preventing the decoding of a message, then you are de facto encrypting from my point of view.
Yeah, because I guess they do say that if your intent is to obscure, then it is encryption. So I guess you're right. Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to the same concept as I can't say the chair is against the wall on HF and have that mean, we're meeting up at the rendezvous location because S is hitting the F kind of thing, right? Like you can't use encoded messaging, whether it's a one-time pad or it's encoded voice messages or blah, 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 right? Yeah. All right. Okay, so yeah, let me go back here. Let me really reset for a second. So the goal of today's video, at least from my point of view, I'd like to dip into the world of computers because I know things have changed considerably in the last year. I know people went from using Raspberry Pis and now they're using small little Windows PCs, and the ever-present cheap laptops are always available. We still have those in a myriad of different options, and even some of the old funky stuff that still pops up that people see really valuable areas for amateur radio. And yes, of course, you can use any laptop, any computer to do amateur radio things. It's just some things like portable amateur radio might lean themselves to like a tough book or something that's a little bit more resilient. So the open question, and it's also going to be open questions for D-Rats as well as the live stream from today or questions along those lines, is what do you think the best ham radio computer is, or at least a couple of options that you've considered or actually played with and would give a positive seal of approval? Anybody else want to jump on that to start?
You don't want to go look at my video on the 12-volt shack? No.
I mean, I could do it live, but I'd rather just you link it, and we'll have people go check it out. But yeah, you can tell me about it. What do you got going on?
Well, the problem with it is it's kind of like the AREDN equipment. Those things, those mini PCs roll quite regularly, and so I'll be glad to link it. Just don't follow some of the links because I think they're some of those mini PCs
newer versions. You're saying,
right?
Gotcha.
Yeah. And but the concept is the same. I have used and have taken into the field in POTA. I have taken mini PCs with and in fact, the Roadcom monitor that I put on them is still the same. I use the little tiny keyboards, those little. It's almost about the size of the TDEC keyboard.
Oh, cool!
That comes with a little trackpad. I use those, and I point those out in the video as well, because to me, that's better than trying to take a Pi out. The
Oh,
Pies now have gotten so expensive by
I
the time
know.
you buy
It's crazy.
the case and the keyboard and all of the various things that go with it. The only reason I would buy a Pi anymore is if I need the GPIO pins. And I think I've got close to 6 or 7 of those mini PCs. All
Mhm.
of them are 12 volt, just like the
Oh,
Jankopotamus. And the Jankopotamus came out with an N3 3105 CPU. They now have a 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 Celeron. Those are all faster.
really? Those are way
And
faster. Yeah.
I even got a 12 volt PC with a Core i3 in it. It was called an N305.
Wow.
Unfortunately, they stopped making them. The N100s, though, and the N95s are really fast compared to the older ones. And they're nearly all of those that I have seen are 12 volt.
Okay.
And I literally cut the power supply off of it and put some power poles on it, boom, right into a battery. Runs great.
So to give some point of reference to Don's point here, so if you're looking at the Raspberry Pis, like here's Amazon, $87, $89, $93, and that's just the bare bones unit. That's not in a case, no power options, no way of interfacing it. So you're going to have to set it up headless to do VNC, or where you remote into it via your phone or tablet or something along those lines, which you can do, but that's never really a good radio experience, particularly if you're like running portable and it's hot outside and you're like, hold on, I got to set up my Raspberry Pi server. They have lots of value, don't get me wrong, in amateur radio. I think that for me, the Pi has now entered the world of this off-grid library solution. Library solution is what I'm going to be using it for, and probably Node-RED, because I do have a Raspberry Pi 5 that I'm going to, I think, integrate a ton of my Shack stuff with it when I get the Flex radio. And that's, I think, going to be really value added. I think that's a really good way to go. But portable, I still gravitate towards a traditional laptop personally.
Well, when I went up to Huntsville, what was it, last year, I took a mini PC and I ran off a mini PC.
Yeah. So what
I did FT8 and all of that, right on the bench there.
What
And I even filmed it. I don't think I released that video though.
What's the mini PCs you're looking at these days? Like, what's a good one? Because you're getting most of them off of Amazon, right?
Right. Yeah, I try to. And again, it changes. And so like if I go and look at my history, I don't even know if I'd find some of those still there. But what I look for are N95s, N100s, and let's see, or N305 if you can find them. I really think they're out of production.
Some of these things are crazy. They're running Ryzen 7s and 1 terabyte of disk. Yeah. That's 64 gigs of RAM. That's an expensive computer at $750. That's overkill for ham radio. So you're looking for what? Right. An N what, 95?
That's an N100 or an N95. And even the 5105s and or 6000s, Celerons are fine. They'll blow away a Pi 5.
Oh yeah.
Especially the 6000s.
Yeah,
and the 6000s, I've gotten those down as low as $89 for the whole freaking thing.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, I mean the first one I pulled up is like $160, and the N100 is $179, and that's still like 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabyte. I mean, that's not bad at all.
No, those are B-Links, and B-Link is actually now almost a name brand. They are very good computers.
Yeah, I mean, they look good.
The Mini Forum is another one that's kind of hard to find. But I mean, a lot of times I'll find these things, and I've found them before for $139, and then they have like you see that one that says $199 and save $30 with a coupon. Yeah. There's a lot of those with save X amount with a coupon. So there was one.
I don't think it was B-Link though.
B-Link. You'll find B-Links every once in a while that are that way. I really don't get hung on the brand names.
Okay.
So if I find one and it's a good price, and I know that and I look at the specs and the specs match what I want, That's what I get, because to me, I don't think anybody can screw these things up anymore. It's manufacturing a motherboard, and they're all doing it the same way with the
Right.
same, So it's I don't get hung up on the motherboards or the brand names anymore.
If
I-
you look at your Discord messages, Josh, I sent you the one that Don suggested to me a while ago. So there's a link for you in your messages for that one. It's absolutely fantastic,
So
though,
this
right, Don?
is the
Mhm.
N300 at 185, 256 SSD, 8 gigs of RAM. So the N300 is the i3. That's
Yeah, it's
way
an
fast.
i3.
Yeah, that's way
And
fast.
I believe if you click on that second picture, that it shows that it's 12 volts. A lot of times you look at the pictures, and they will actually, go, oh, here's the power, the power on the back, and it's 12 volts. It might be further down. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there it is. 12 volt DC.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
That's sweet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Love that. And the line's
thing's
wrong.
fast.
It's pointed to the wrong hole.
And that thing is small, and it's like, I take one of those little bags, and I can put pretty much everything I'm talking about, the keyboard with the little trackpad on it, and the interface cables, Ethernet, because I'll take a Hermes light out this way. And,
oh, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, I've done it.
Yeah,
I took it to one of my club events with POTA club events just to show off the radio. Ran POTA the whole time. And then I use a monitor called a ROADCOM, ROADCOM, or is it RODCOAM? Anyway, I don't remember, but it's a very good monitor that, you can get like 12, 15, 17-inch monitor. And they come in a little case that you fold the case up, and you can lean the monitor up, and it faces you. There's not, so you're basically carrying the little case for the monitor carries, and that little keyboard that you've got, that Rye. I use those. I use the square ones like that, and they're obviously they're small, right? They work great.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, I think I've got one of the similar keyboards, the little handheld one with the trackpad on it. I think I got this at Micro Center for like $10, not even that. It was super cheap.
Yeah, they sell them at Micro Center, and they also sell them at Amazon. Micro Center used to have some full-size or closer to full-size keyboards, like what you've got on the Jankopotamus there with a trackpad to the side for like $19. But I bought 2 or 3 of them, then they disappeared.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's lots of options out there. Go ahead, comment.
I'm just going to throw a wrench in your situation and say that I love to use my Apple MacBook Pro from 2019 with the 4 ports.
I think Mike does that.
Sure.
And I used to take out, and I do love it, the iPad. But the iPad would overheat like nobody's been. Slight bit of sun on it, boom, and
it's definitely not for the faint of heart, though. Bringing that stuff out, you've got to make sure your head's in the game so you don't destroy it.
Well, the only thing I've had trouble with on the iPad, like I said, is the heating. If I can keep it out of the sun and keep it cool, then it works great. But it just overheats on me, and I've not had the mini PCs overheat. And that was one of the problems at Huntsville. Was there were 2 benches out in front of the cabin, and one of them was off to one side, and I liked it because I could sit and the sun would come in on my back, and it was just nice. And the problem was the sun would also hit the monitors and some of the other things. And if you don't watch it, the radio was literally in that case overheating. And then I moved over to the bench that was in shade and never had another problem.
So real quick, I got a super chat. Adventures in Blind Videography asks, anyone using the Microsoft Surface? So my issue with the Microsoft Surface is the just the sheer lack of ports, unfortunately, on that. You got a charging port, which you should use that charging port because it keeps your other port free. Um, I think they've improved. I have a Surface Go, which frankly I hardly ever used because I just like I didn't like that I only had the one port that I could play with at any time. Other than that, they kind of also are a little bit fiddly to just work in the field. You're not really going to sit on your lap. Like oftentimes I'll just sit on the ground and have the laptop in my lap, and the Surface is not my favorite to operate with. It can be done, of course. That's why I just end up going with the Jankopotamus so many times, is because it's just a standard laptop, and it's easy to use that way. So
I think Thomas Witherspoon uses his with his IC705.
mm-hmm. I mean, he's so often on CW, I seldom see him with a laptop. But yeah, maybe.
True.
Comment.
Yeah, go ahead, comment.
Yeah, and speaking of the Surface and any machine that has a serious lack of ports, you may think, hey, well, this thing has a serious lack of ports, but you go grab a USB hub, especially some of the cheaper USB hubs, you would be amazed the issues you will have with a cheap USB hub and radio gear. Just wanted to throw that out there as a general comment. And also, as far as using a laptop in the field, I use an Acer desktop replacement in the field on POTA. Big heavy boy.
I was going to say, yeah, that's going to be big. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a really neat little thing. I cannot remember where I got mine, but just go on Amazon and look for laptop sunshade. It's like a little tent material type thing, and they work fantastic for keeping the heat off of those devices. I took a Klein infrared thermometer out there, and it was like a 30-degree difference between the table and the laptop. So really a big help.
Yeah, I have the one that kind of folds up like a car sun shield. And I've taken it on field days. This is the closest example of it that I can find. This guy. They literally fold up like super tiny. That's the size of it when it's all packed down. And they're really good for when you're out in the sun, like the example right, where was it? That's not a great example. Anyway, yeah, that image or the video of it being in the sun.
Josh, if you look in the Discord chat, and I apologize for you having to do that, but if you look in there and look at my thumbnail, my thumbnail for that video was taken from Huntsville. So I'm sitting at a park bench with the radio, the FTDX10 in the background, and the mini PC and the monitor all sitting right there on that table.
I'll pull it up right now. Let's see. Let's pull up Don's video here. I'm gonna mute for a second. So let's. Oh, I'm not gonna steal the thunder. He dropped the link, so go watch it. But let's see if we can find a quick shot. Is it some part in here?
No, it's right there in front of it. You just had it up. It's the thumbnail.
Oh, the thumbnail. Got it. Yeah. So you've got Oh, you're using like a remote screen and then the Bluetooth keyboard, and then it's all 12 volts, so you can run off of a Bioenno, among other things. Yeah.
That screen looks like a little laptop because it's you have that thing that it's sitting against, that it's leaning against, actually is the case for it. So when you're done, you fold it up and that thing covers it real nicely. And then in that case, I have a GMK Tech mini PC, 12 volts. It's connected down in the video that I took out there. I actually go and show you where I've connected all of that to the Big Geek, Mike's Big Geek.
Okay.
So I'm powering it off the Big Geek and the radio. And then I have a GPS that is strung out back further out, sitting in just on the ground, doing my timing for me for FT8.
So Snowcones made a strong declarative statement. Modern Ultrabook with more than 10 hours of battery life. Windows-based. The jank is poop. So send me the link to an Ultrabook you'd like to recommend, and I'll take a look at it, because the problem I have is that, I could spend $1,000 and I could get a 10-hour plus Ultrabook, but it's like way overkill. I'm with you on the battery. I love the battery. The problem is that it's not 12 volt, so you're not going to be able to charge it if you're going to be all weekend long. And you're like, oh, just don't use it when blah blah blah. It's like I don't want to be tied to that. I don't want to have to be tied to rationing my battery so much. So yeah, drop me a link for what you recommend. I'll take a look at it. There was a super chat too. Michael Sable says, what about a Panasonic Toughbook? So I have two Tough books, if you will. One of them's a tablet. In fact, I dragged it out, and it's this guy. I'll put it on the screen here. Let me close this Jankopotamus and use it as a platform. It's that ToughPad, and the problem I have with the ToughPad is the battery life is pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and it's also pretty underpowered. Like, it's almost at the point of being Raspberry Pi level power output, which is not good. It's not good at all. The advantage, though, is that, yeah, you can operate underwater with it. But the thing that I've always kind of surprises me is, why do you need a laptop that can be rained on when your radio can't be? And then, the inevitable answer is, well, I only use the TX500. Then, yeah, in your case, you're great. You're good. But you're like 1% of the 1% of ham radio operators. That's not an incredibly popular radio. Also, I don't even think people would say you should be operating in the rain, because what are your chances of getting struck by lightning? It's probably pretty decent. So oftentimes, if anything, I'd rather use like a water-resistant sleeve for a laptop, or put it in a case that would protect it if it's riding around your pack. But then if I get to the operation location and it's pouring rain, I'm probably not operating. That's just the way it goes, right? So that's just kind of how it is from my point of view. So yeah.
Hey, I'm a fan of the old ThinkPad X220.
Yeah.
Those things are dirt cheap. If you can find one, you can get one for $100. You can still get a fresh battery for it. You can load it up with RAM. It runs Linux Mint like a champ. Everything works on it. To me, and it's a real laptop with a real keyboard, right? And that is such a nice luxury when you're out portable.
Yeah, when you were talking about them, boy, howdy, some of them get real expensive, though. So I think everybody caught on to your recommendations, Digital Rancher, because there's some really high-priced ones on eBay right now. There's even ones with
those are going
feet in
for
the picture.
stupid.
So there you go. That's fantastic.
Stupid money.
Let's get that. They're good-looking toes, dude. Glad you put that on your used laptop.
Hey Josh, I posted a picture of my setup in the Discord chat. I just use a business lease, like kind of like the ThinkPad, but it's a Dell 7270 for $150 in a tent, like a laptop tent. And then I just flip my Gigaparts pack for the 7300 upside down, and that way I can put my flat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let me pull this up so you guys can see it. So yeah, I almost thought this was AI generated. The picture looks too good. It almost looks like the tripod and the little laptop tent is like superimposed on the picture. It's kind of wild
just
looking.
a couple of days ago.
That's super cool. What are you operating there? That's
Green Cube. It was a 6-degree pass right on the right in the code.
Where the antenna is just real flat, because I can't tell how many elements there are. But okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's the Alaskan. So that when I took the picture, it was right after the last QSO.
Right.
It was down about 0.7 degrees off the horizon. So
yeah,
it was straight out.
That's pretty cool.
That LNA's a giveaway there on your whatever you're using to hold that antenna up, though.
Yeah, that's just a cheap speaker stand. It's like $30 on Amazon.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those speaker stands. They're nice.
So I share digital. I've used Lenovo's multiple times in my ham radio portable career, if you will. They're always pretty good. The Lenovo's are pretty nice laptops. And it's, yeah, IBM sold the ThinkPad name to a Chinese company, but they still feel like they're pretty good quality. They've maintained the quality pretty well. So I generally like them. These 220s, though, are going for insano prices, so you might want to be careful on those. The refurbs are
Yeah,
like
that
through
one
the
for
roof.
129 looks pretty good.
Yeah, I want to go back to the one with the dude's feet in it. No, I'm just kidding.
I think Lenovo took over the ThinkPad.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, they did.
I said
And,
that they sold it to the Chinese company. Lenovo's a Chinese company.
And hey, that guy manicures, so you know.
I don't
You
think
can
he
also
does.
get,
I think it looks like he dropped a hammer on his
You mean
toe.
he pedicures?
You can get power supplies for 12 volts for a lot of these as well.
Mhm.
So like my Dell needs 20 volts. So I just got a Power Plus mobile adapter, and you just chop the part that goes in the cigarette plug and put a power pole on it.
Mm-hmm. So Tim Harper, we haven't really talked about, we talked about the Surface Pro, and that's kind of like a tablet with a keyboard attachment. And he says the Alcatel RT8 rugged tablet, $400 and waterproof, drop resistant, and massive battery capacity. So let's pull that guy up. We'll take a look at it. The only thing I can tell you is the amount of stuff that I can avoid having to bring out in the field is what I aim for. So I like it when I don't need an extra keyboard and a bunch of extra cables and a screen and all this other stuff. I'm not saying you need that for a tablet, but oftentimes I end up like being hesitant to drag something out into the field where I then have to bring a bunch of accessories to make it work. So the Alcatel is Android, so that limits you a little bit in the sense that you can do FT8, but you're not going to be like Windows or Linux, right? It's not like a full PC. Is that what I'm looking at correctly? Smartphone, Android 13. Yeah. The R8 tablet is Android. So that does limit you somewhat. But if that's all you do is FT8 and log, then that's fine. Yeah. But I mean, if you're doing FT8 and logging, you might as well just use a phone. Go get an old Android phone and run it off the app on the phone. You don't need a whole tablet for that unless you have like, eye issues where you need something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's another great use for old tablets, right? Old tablets, or tablets kind of go out of favor fairly quickly, but the ham radio apps will still run on those old tablets. So that's another great use for those.
Yeah, mine always die on me before I stop using them.
So Serapodon, I'd recommend grabbing one of these for your U console. They get an extra 3 USB-C ports. There's a link on Etsy shop where you can get one. What am I talking? Oh, interesting. Is that it goes in the expansion slot? Oh, buddy. Are they actual USB ports? If they are, I'm totally going to get one of those. Thank you for the, what are they, on Tindy? Oh, bro. What's the difference between the U Hub and the U Pico? I need to know. What is the difference?
I have one of those. It goes from it uses a USB-C port, and I think mine gives me like 4 extra USB slots.
I think the U Hub is what I'm looking at. Yeah, they're out of stock. So, bummo. I'm going to type in my email address right now so I can get notified when they come back into stock. But yeah, for $42 as an expansion card, I'd totally pick one of those up. Again, though, and I'll be really frank with you, it's a Raspberry Pi. This is just a Raspberry Pi Raspberry Pi. It's no better or worse. In fact, I don't know. It's cool in the sense of the form factor, but it's not cool to type on. It's designed to be like it's a retro. It's like a CM4. It's a CM4 device. So it's designed to be like a retro Pi device. Like you take it on a plane, on the bus, and play retro games. It's not very nice to type on. Just straight up, it's not very nice. In fact, I would say that it's rather bad to type on. Because it's like that rubber cell mem. It's like a Sinclair. If you remember the old Sinclair computers, that's what it kind of reminds me of. It's got that like rubber button feel with the click, but it's like real mushy. You're not typing fast on that.
It can't be worse than the Atari 400s.
Oh God.
No, sir.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
the
not.
membrane keyboard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who else has got some thoughts there? I'll throw in my my oftentimes I end up grabbing it is my GPD Pocket 2. That is one of my go-to laptops when I really can't take much, and that's it. Like it is stupid small. It is not a Celeron. It's actually more powerful than a Celeron, but it's pretty old and it's pretty long in the tooth now. And the new models. So this is the GPD Pocket 2. The Pocket 2, you can find them used inexpensively, but the new GP Pocket is like through the roof expensive, like $700 to $900, which is just a no-go for me. But that's the laptop I took into New York. I didn't really bring anything else for ham radio other than that and my KX2 with the interface kit. And just to give you a reference, this is I'm holding it in my hand. It's super small. It's crazy small. And the advantage of this is that it has a USB-C charging port, and that's also actual USB port, a USB 3.0, and another USB 3.0, as well as a micro SD port. So as far as I/O is concerned, it's kind of crazy. Like you're not going to get that on some of these other devices. Like that's got the U console beat for days, and the Panasonic ToughPad, not even a question. They're not even in the same realm. And it's not a netbook. Who remembers netbooks? The EEPC.
Those were brutal.
I tried that.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, I had one.
I actually had really good luck with running Ubuntu on a Dell Mini 9. That was probably the best setup I've ever had.
Yeah, but
the best ones came with free flexing in the frame when you typed on them.
Yeah, they were chassis unrigid. Yeah, so see, this is snow cones. I love you, but you're making my point for me. It's $1,000. So it's a Ryzen 7 32 gigabyte, 1 terabyte SSD. That's $1,000 laptop. You're trying to compare that to the Jenkopotamus at $200. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Josh, do you remember the Model 100?
The Model 100.
Yeah. Radio Shack Model 100.
I don't think I ever touched one.
Oh yeah, my wife was all there. We had 2 of them, but they're a little bitty tiny. I think they were very close to the first laptops, like what we actually remember.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever touched one of those. I don't think I ever even looked at one. Like what did it run? Was it like a 380?
380 meaning
386?
Oh no. It's before that.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, that was a proprietary.
I think you can find them.
Or
you
something.
can probably find a picture of them on eBay, but it had like a 3-line screen on it.
Mm-hmm.
So of characters, so 3 lines of characters on there, 80 columns wide, but it was. I'm really trying to remember what era that was. I don't remember. It's 92, 93 maybe, or before that.
Okay. Dang, son, those GPD Pockets still go for a lot of money. So there was a question in the chat from Marty. What was that laptop that I was just holding up? It's the GPD Pocket. So the GPD Pocket 2 is the one I have. And I think I have the 8100, the M3 8100Y processor. I could be wrong, though. I don't remember. Actually, I could probably look it up if I log in. I might do that. Give me a second. You don't want the GPD Pocket 1, though. Get the GPD Pocket 2. Let me see if I can log in really quick and see what I got. This was years ago, though, so you know how eBay goes. Everybody like, nope, you're forever.
We brought up Ubuntu earlier, Josh. That reminded me of getting the early Ubuntu distros on CD in the mail. It was a great feeling.
Oh, what did I just do? I logged in with the wrong account. Nope. Gosh.
What I find
Oh, we lost you.
Oh, sorry. We'll spend $1,500 on a radio, $100 on good coax, and then we're like, computer. Best I can do is $80.
Well, because you don't need more than that. If you told me that like I had to have like a graphics card or something crazy for it, then sure, make the argument. But there's nothing that you need that much power for amateur radio. So like things like the Surface, for instance, the Surface Go got slammed in a lot of laptop review YouTube videos, right? They were like, oh, it sucks. It's not very powerful. Well, if you debloat it, which I do to pretty much every laptop I get, I debloat it, and you run amateur radio stuff, they're all rock stars. They do great. So it's never the performance. The things that we gravitate towards are more like the interfaces, the powering options. Are they water resistant, right? Things like that. We can get by with a much lower spec on hardware because we're not driven by hardware. It's all the accessory things. Like, does it have a lot of I/O ports, a lot of USB? Does it have USB-C? Can I charge off a 12-volt? Like all that stuff is like what we generally look for. At least I do when it comes to like laptops or whatever that I'm buying. So I may be alone, but that was kind of why I wanted to have this conversation. Is what do you guys look for? Yes, it was mine is the M37Y30. That is they didn't make many of those, and it was pretty kind of a rare-ish model. The processor it's pretty good actually, all things considered. They run hot though. They run really hot.
I want to know where Eric's getting coax for $100. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Oh no, my coax is like all of them are over $100. So like on GreenCube, 25 feet of LMR 400. It's not cheap.
Yeah, well, you said coax for 100 in that statement, so I'm like, I want to know where you're getting coax for $100 because oh boy.
Oh well, I don't get any coax. Like even for POTA, I'm running like M&P, like HyperFlex or like M&P 7.
Mm-hmm. So just for reference, the GPD Pocket 3 is the current gen. They have an i7 model, and it goes for $1,200. So think of the same size as the one I have, but it's a rotatable screen. And I think you can get a proper serial port connection on the back of these. They've got an expansion slot, which is it's hidden here, but it's in this area where you could actually put in, like, it actually has a full-size Cat 5 or Cat 6 connector too on this mini laptop, which is pretty insane.
With an i7, that's probably going to keep your dinner warm too.
Oh yeah, that thing's going to be rocket hot. It's going to have it's going to have the fan on 100% of the time when it's on.
Well, that's going to be the laptop i7, not the proper i7.
Oh, well, regardless, it's going to be running hot. It's going to be hot.
I got a comment.
Go ahead, comment. I'd love to have it.
So I think with a lot of these laptop reviews, especially with like, oh, this laptop sucks or this sucks or that's like, I think they're only trying to go, it's like, for like the high performance value. So it's like, oh, it'll run the latest and greatest, office software, music software, video software that keeps going up and up and up and up to eventually a laptop where it's like, hey, I just need to write emails and, maybe write, some things, not, it's like, oh, I have to write a full symphonic symphony on it plus a music video attached to it. So it's like, yeah, you could get away with, a $300, $400, or $200 or $300 laptop where it's like, look, I don't need it, but thanks to consumerism, it's like, no, you have to have it. Ergo, this thing sucks. Ergo, you need to pay top dollar for the top dollar stuff because the software is starting to become top dollar.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. So if you think of like every laptop that hits the market, it's always somebody that's doing like a 3D benchmarking test on it. They're trying to see what the performance is of the equipment inside of it. And they're doing, performance benchmarks for the CPUs and all that stuff. And again, we collectively, if you're just doing amateur radio things, you don't need that. You can literally go probably you can go to a yard sale and pick up anything that has a semi-modern processor in it and just format it, reload Windows, and you're probably fine. If you pick up an HP or a Dell, you're gonna be fine. I think that's the big takeaway, is that you don't have to spend a lot, and you'll still be totally capable.
And in my case, as a married man, there's always the spousal test of what do you need it for? What do you need this? How much is this going to be? Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, that's why I gravitated so hard towards the Jankopotamus, is that it's got the screen, it's got a keyboard, it's got a trackpad, and when we first started buying them, they were like $60, $80 shipped. And now you can go to Micro Center and pick one up for still like $100 or maybe 120, and you're done. Like, that's it. It's all loaded. Yeah, there's some funkiness, particularly if you want to do Linux and whatnot. But yeah, you can de-bloat it and it runs fine. I literally did, I still pull it out all the time for the live streams just to prove to people that it's like, no, it's fine. Works totally fine. But, that's just, it's not cool. It doesn't have the cool factor other than, it runs off 12 volts. That's pretty rare. Well, that's awesome, All right, so that was good. I think we hit some of the marks there. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. I'll still take your comments, anybody in the chats, or if we want to come back to this. But I'm going to run to the restroom really fast, and then we're going to say hi to our friends on YouTube and take more of your questions. So stick around, all right? I will be right back. You guys keep the fires rolling for me. I will return. Go ahead. Take it. Somebody talk about their computers.
Do you want me to talk about the Model 100? No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it was released in 1983 for a grand cost of $1,099. I'd forgotten about that. So we bought two of them at $1,000 a piece. And we used them. I mean, my wife used them all the time, and I wasn't aware of journalists using them for writing stories and submitting stories. But I suspect, really, if you look at it, that's probably one of the earliest laptops that's close to what we have today, which was a small thing you could just pick up and carry around with you. And it was actually called a TRS-80 Model 100. And it was a fun little device to have at the time.
See, Don, for me, I'm basically in the 1980s of computer tech. Yes, I have all the computer stuff. Yes, I have relatively okay computer stuff. But as Matt, aka Snowcones, will tell you, I live in the digital dark ages. I still program with DOS computers. The oldest computer I have that's still running is a DOS 386 for programming radios. Wow. And
that was late in my career. I started out on an Apple II and by the way, an Apple II with integer basic in ROM, which meant that when you powered it on, it came up in assembly, and you hit a button, key sequence, and it would pop into basic.
Right, but this is what I have currently. I mean, I didn't start on this stuff. This is what I have currently. That's my oldest piece of gear. My newest is a Windows 10 desktop that, well, as you've seen from my stuff, doesn't really go too well sometimes.
Well, what's funny is we go every once in a while to this billiards parlor because you can have lunch there, and it's a pretty good lunch, pretty good hamburger, and they will, let you play pool the whole time, you're eating your lunch. And anyway, they do all of their pool checkouts, check-ins, costing, everything to this day on an Apple II.
Oh, I believe it. And welcome back, Josh. The list is reversed as promised from last week.
All right. Number of comments in the chat. Thanks for. Go ahead.
Toshiba T1000.
I was going to say the Toshiba T1100. That's the first one I remember.
I think that was later. Because
I think that was like 85 or 86, something like that.
Yeah. Did anybody here ever own a TI PC?
I don't know that.
I had a TI 99 4A.
Well, no, I had a TI PC, which was the x86 IBM PC system that TI came out with. And the reason we bought one, my wife was working in a computer store when they first came out, and they had literally the best graphics out there. They blew away the graphics on the IBM, but it was TI, and nobody trusted that TI would stay in the business, which they did not. But we ran a bulletin board on it until 1998, and it worked.
Pablo, his first computer was the TI 99 4A.
All right.
It was an Apple II.
Antique computer chat is over. We're moving on. I'm back.
Come on.
No.
I'm not going to tell you
I'm
we
back.
just pulled a
I'm
compact
back.
out of service.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Really quick, Marty says, what was the Micro Center special Josh was talking about? Not a special. You just walk your body into a Micro Center and you can walk out with a $100 laptop. It's the Evolve 3 Maestro. Now, depending on which model you get, some of them are going to be USB-C. The other ones will have the coaxial cable, but they'll both do 12 volts. At least that's my understanding. Is that correct? It'll do 12 volts over USB-C, or is it just 5 volts? Somebody correct me. I've only been lucky enough by having the coaxial ones.
Yeah, that's all I've ever seen, but I haven't bought one in a long time.
Yeah, so it will depend. You might want to take a look at them first.
Josh, mine is 12 volts over USB-C.
Yeah, so you just have to have the right cable for it, but you can bodge your 12 volt connection into USB-C and you can make that work too. So that works. So David, the other vote that almost won but didn't win for today's Patron Picks episode was the Meshtastic update. There are a lot of Meshtastic updates I want to talk about. My new repeater, my new texting device, which you've seen, the red one, and then T-Deck. The T-Deck is getting a massive upgrade, which I hinted at last week. So if you haven't bought a T-Deck, they're still like $56 on Amazon. If you are thinking about getting into Meshtastic, this is probably the direction you want to go. I'm guessing that a lot of people, every time that I talked about Meshtastic and I would tether my phone to it, they're like, well, that's not off-grid. You're connected to your phone. It's like, no, genius. It's not connected to the service. It's using RF over the device. But they're like, they didn't get it. So the T-Deck, which, what the heck? I'll bring that up right now. So where is it? There we go. So if you search for...
Are you still seeing $56?
Yeah. As of
I followed your link and it was 73 for me.
It's $57.
It was 73 for me. I could not find one for 7.
Well, I'll drop the new link, and I don't go with anything like, I'm not looking up anything special. There's only one. If you search T-Deck, it's the only one that comes up. The other one's $52. So I don't know. Maybe somebody
look again.
Caught wind of something and they're like, so what? Why?
Josh?
Yeah.
Underneath, so that first result, it's $57. Another way to buy is $73. That's probably where he has it confused.
Oh, if you want to do
I just clicked on the link. It's $73.
Okay. All right. Well,
get it faster, $73.
If I click buy it now, right now, it's gonna say 50. Okay, hold on. Nope, that's not what I want. Hold on. Let me click buy it now and see what it tells me. $57. In fact, it looks like there is a delivery charge, but that I'm not on my same account. So hold on.
I'm not even looking at the delivery. I'm just looking directly at the I just
followed the link you know what? I see what you're talking about. Hold on. So that's interesting. Okay, so let's go back here. Hold on. So interesting. Change my Amazon account because I have 2 Amazon accounts. And let's see what the $52 one shows if I add to cart. So this is the Wi-Fi Bluetooth without LoRa. You don't want that.
Well, the one I got works just fine. I mean,
so $73. Yeah.
Yep. I just want to be sure I'm getting the right one. I mean, I followed your link and I bought it. So
yeah. So it looks like
Josh, you
running
called it last
Meshtastic.
week, right? He said, "Buy it now because it's gonna go up."
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
they're gonna go up. So I'll grab the link here. Hold on, I think I'm already.
Yeah, I got that. The
And I'll
GPS
I'll
and the
explain
battery.
why. I'm not going to break out my Meshtastics to fully explain it like in a detailed sense, but so the TDEC link. All right, my kid is calling me, and I don't know why. Hello, Ben. Oh, okay.
Oh, if it went from 52 to 73, then it's already going up. That's crazy.
No, I think that Josh is using a different type of account. That
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
it's the
he,
account switch. Yeah. So
yeah,
let me explain why it's going to go up in price. So if you have a TDEC now, they're fairly limited. You have basically one channel they'll operate on, and they can't jump between channels, and you can't you can't text through and change them. So they're coming up with an update, and the last time I saw it was on Twitter or X. I hope that I think I can find it this way. TDEC update, firmware update. Well, maybe if you add the dash. Let's see if I can find the image for it. Ah, there it is. All right, so look at this. So they're adding basically all the discrete controls that you could get through the Heltec devices by tethering to phone. They're calling it's like the all-in-one firmware. So Meshtastic was always designed, at least initially, to just be like a dummy terminal, if you will, that connects to your phone. And then the phone's app does all that heavy lifting for creating channels, jumping between channels, being able to look at, location information, doing all that stuff, the back-end controls thing. People started making all-in-one radios, and by all-in-one we mean has a keyboard, can type, and send a message. Well, that was fairly limited because Meshtastic wasn't designed to necessarily do that. Well, the new update for the TDEC is going to include a lot of this feature set for all-in-ones. It's going to support a lot of that. So it's going to be fairly big. I'm really looking forward to it. It's pretty major, and it hasn't gotten a ton of updates. That's only 168 from the primary account for Meshtastic. Lots of comments. 53 is pretty good, but yeah, pretty quiet. Like people don't really know that this is all happening, which is it would have been fun to be able to bring it to you all. But don't worry, I'm still going to probably end up making something about it. So it looks like. Go ahead.
Are you going to look into the BBS and mail for Meshtastic?
I might. The problem that I have is that I think it's highly connected to like a home network kind of thing. And so if you're just like out and about and you're trying to set up kind of an ad hoc network, there's probably a lot of back end connections. I heard that it was like somebody already messaged me. I knew that it existed, but I haven't watched it yet. I think I clicked the button, but then I couldn't sit and watch it for very long. So yes, am I interested? Of course, I'll take a look at it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it is.
Hey, the TDEC is still available through LilyGo's site for $52.
Oh, there you go. You can get it through that too. I didn't realize. I thought they were totally just selling through Amazon now.
No, but yeah, if you order through LilyGo, you're going to end up getting it from China, right?
Yes. Now, what's the other thing?
I got mine next day.
So, TDEC battery. Let's talk about that. Where is that? I need the big one. We talked about it last week. So we need the 8,000 milliamp. No, not 800.
The big boy.
The big one.
I swear, people are still firing off fireworks.
Oh yeah, they go all week out here. Okay, so here's the hack. They got an 8,000 milliamp lithium ion battery. It's a LiPo, a proper LiPo, and it will connect to your TDEC. And the reason why you want to go this route, and yes, this is an insanely big battery, is the TDEC is very power hungry. It will drain a battery pretty quick. But this is a $22 battery, and you will have to snip connectors and resolder That is true.
Yep.
You will have to do that,
I
but
did.
it's very easy. It's very easy to do. Don't worry about it.
And then the GPS, the same thing. With the GPS you were showing, you have to solder the GPS on, or at least that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, I think it's MicroCat or something along those lines is the YouTube channel that has that. She has a video that explains what you do to get that going, and highly recommend you take a look at that. And I've done that. I will inevitably make a video going through all this stuff. I just haven't done it yet. So
yeah.
That battery's got some weight to it as well. I mean, it's not a proper battery.
It's not playing.
Oh, and then after all of that, you have to add a case to it, or you can 3D print one. But my 3D printer is not working.
I 3D
right
printed
now.
it. Yeah, the Alley Cat, case that actually Alec, HRCC admin. He's not in the live stream right now, but he was the one that put me onto both the battery and the case. And yep, fantastic recommendation. So highly recommended there. All right, let's go down the list of saying hi to our YouTube friends. Okay, hold on. It just depends on what screen I'm on, Frank. Frank's giving me all kinds of background notes. Frank, you're distracting me. So, all right. So thank you, Frank. I appreciate you giving us the update on what's going on. But he does a really good job of taking down a list of all the YouTubers who've joined us today. And so we're going in reverse order this week, so keeping everybody on their toes. Tim, the Radio Brotherhood, you there, man? How you
Well, that's a shocker.
keep you on your toes, man. How's it going?
I thought he was talking to me.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Greetings from South Dakota. No, I haven't done much in video lately. I've been traveling. Broke down and bought a travel trailer and made a couple trips to Florida, which I don't think I'm going to make any more 2,000-mile trips each way. It's a little tough on you. Now, I brought a radio with me. I figured I'd do some POTA and never once got a chance to pull it out. My wife looked at that thing in my compartment and she said, "What is that?" I go, "That's my radio." She goes, "Well, why did I ask?"
Oh, no.
But anyway, I never did get it. I never got a chance.
There's nothing worse than carrying all the radio stuff out there and not being able to use it. That's always a bummer.
We were busy in Florida, and
of course
it just worked out with the weather and everything. We got out of there just before the floods. No, it was crazy. But I found out something very interesting when I was running my dog yesterday. This area where I go do POTA is called Sand Lake National Refuge. And I know it was a big area, but I had no idea that it expanded, that it actually extended into the edge of the little town I live in. So basically I could ride my bike to a picnic table there and do POTA just down the street from my house. So we're going to be trying that out in the near future.
Oh, that's
But anyway,
excellent.
that's all I've had going on. And we have plans. My buddy and I were sitting down just the other day working out some stuff that we want to do, but we've both been busy, but it's settling down now and the weather is nice, so we'll be getting back to work. I got my hex beam working really well. It's only 10 feet off the ground, but talks around the world, no problem. So anyway, we're working on getting that up in the air too. So other than that, everything's good here in South Dakota, and thanks a lot. And boy, shock me. Have a great one, Josh, and everybody.
Oh, right on. Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Then next is that Dawn? Wait, going in. Oh no, Paul. That's right, Paul. Pre-ham, go for it. Or prep ham.
Good evening, everyone. That's all right. I used to comment on another YouTuber not involved in ham radio, and when he would say my super chats, he would say pre-fam Paul. It took him about 2 months to realize.
So how you doing, man?
This week, good. This last week, I posted from last week's Sunday night stream a silly little short that highlighted a certain Frank from Ham Radio Wilderness. So it's a silly little short to watch. But tomorrow night is, for the Sunday night stream at 9 p.m., is going to be spousal preparedness. It's the first Sunday of the month, so it's my preparedness topic.
Okay.
So if you don't know what that is, then tune in and let's figure it out. And
Cool.
then next weekend, I should be at HamCom Zion.
Is it next week? Oh my gosh.
Yep. Next Friday, Saturday.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I will have to decide what I'm doing. Mark from Boondock Echo, how you doing, man? He's back with us. How you been?
So that's actually by proxy of me tonight. He's not actually
Oh.
in the chat.
Okay.
If you want, I can take his place for his stuff, or we can wait until I come up.
So wasn't he in the chat though? He was earlier, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he had a family emergency he had to take care of. Boondock Echo is still on track to ship by end of month, he says.
Oh, good. Okay, excellent. I wanted to hear the update, so we appreciate that. All right, then we'll go down the list. Is Adam, K6ARK. How's it going?
Hey, Josh, it is going well. Well, fairly well. I should be on a mountain today, but ended up coming home early. I injured my foot on the hike in.
Oh, no.
And kind of was scrambling through some loose rock and scree and ripped a handhold off of a rock and fell a foot or two onto my foot in an awkward way, and now my left foot is nice and swollen and a little bit multicolored. So we turned around and hiked out rather than continuing further into the backcountry on Thursday.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Beyond that allowed me, yeah, it's all good. It happens. That at least allowed me to get back home and finish up the QMX 40 through 10 meter build, which was successful. And I'll post some photos of that here. It worked out pretty good. The one slightly tricky part with that build was getting 20 meter harmonics to be adequately suppressed. When I first tested it, they were only about 41 dB down with my non-precise test equipment, the Nano S or Tiny SA.
Mm-hmm.
And with a little bit of finagling, I was able to get it down to about 47 dB, which exceeds the 43 dB limit. So yeah, successful build on the 40 through 10 meter QMX, and photos are uploading along with the link to Dan AI6XG's write-up about it.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, thank you for joining us out there, and feel free to dive in if you have any thoughts or comments as we go to open questions from anyone, anywhere in a minute here. So, Tim, Grayman Poda, you're next. How's it going, man?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I walked out of work Wednesday at lunch, said I'm done for the week. I'll be back after the holidays, and I've been doing nothing but POTAs every day. Just
good for you, man. That's awesome.
And actually tomorrow, probably a topic of an upcoming video, but tomorrow I'm going to be popping a POTA cherry with a friend of mine. So he's studying for his tech, and he was interested in going out and doing a POTA. So we're meeting up tomorrow morning to go do that, and hopefully we'll be able to document that and kind of see that that joy that comes over his face, you know, the first time he makes a contact with somebody halfway across the country.
Yeah. I love that. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. All right, now it's Frank. Frank, go ahead. Catch us up on what you got going on.
Oh man, I have a lot going on. First off, thank you, Don, for doing that. I was just copying it as Josh was saying that, so you saved me an extra paste moment there. He dropped my link for me. So not much going on. I had my Q&A AMA last night. I had Jeff K3JRZ on the air as my special guest, and we had a lot of fun with that. The Thursday night NorCal swap was quite an interesting thing, as I had to take a back door to a back door to get into the repeater, and well, the back door was timing out constantly, so that was quite an interesting thing. This week, I'm hoping to have a video out on Tuesday. We shall see what happens. If not, I will have a video out Thursday ahead of Coffee and Ham Radios, because we are bringing Thursday night back as well, as I mentioned last week, because there are so many of us that Tuesday nights were getting overwhelming with upwards of 2 hours of video premieres before Ham Radio Clubhouse, and I don't think many can or would want to sit around for nearly 5 hours of video premieres and then a live stream. So either Tuesday or Thursday for a video for me, and of course Thursday is my normal NorCal swap net at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central. And this coming Friday is my CQ Chit Chat, topic to be determined. I have a couple that I'm thinking of doing. Other than that, I don't have much going on here. Got a few things redone and fix things up. And thank you for telling me to go to Loyal. He and I are working through the back end of trying to get the couple of things worked out so that I can upgrade stuff here at the studio.
Right on. Very good. Very good. Well, yeah. The live stream setup can be a little wild to deal with. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, he's definitely a good guy to tap in there for recommendations. So cool. Right on. Good luck with your upcoming events. All right. Next is Eric. Oh, sorry. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was just saying thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. All right. Next is Eric. He was in the chat. King Henry 6 Whiskey India. Go for it, man. How you been?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sorry, I switched off the PTT since it wasn't working. Yeah, so in about 45 minutes, I'm driving up to the North Coast to do a Green Cube sked with someone in Slovenia. So hopefully that'll work out.
Oh, cool.
But this next coming week, my new camera should be here. So I'm going to be trying to do some videos on how to improve operating Green Cube because it seems like a lot of people are struggling. So tips and tricks on how to get the best performance. And then I'm going to do some videos on using the Green Cube terminal setup with a like FM mobile radio to do essentially Green Cube style operating with the ISS digipeater.
Okay.
Because it's kind of underused, and it'd be nice to get some people on the digipeater making some QSOs.
It would be. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, and I tested out my setup here the other day with a DigiRig, and I just used a J-pole antenna, and I was getting pretty decent digipeats on just low power. Sadly, there's no one to talk to here in Hawaii on the ISS, but I'm going to eventually hook up this setup on the mainland and remote into it. So that's down the stream, and hopefully going to be making videos with the new camera and everything, so I don't have to use my phone anymore.
All right. Well, very good. Well, again, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. All right. And yeah, I'll probably be bugging you, hopefully. Well, it's going to depend on whenever the Flex shows up, because I think I'm going to actually put a antenna on the roof. We'll see what I can get away with. I'll hide it in the back, though. That'll give me a little bit of time to get it up there before Leia figures it out.
But yeah, no worries. Hit me up whenever you're at that point, and I'll be happy to help.
All right. Appreciate that. All right, Don, N5SKT is next. How's it going, man?
Well, it's going pretty well. I just today that what I'm working on is I did a video outside on the connecting up the Antenna Genius, and I just kind of showed how I'm hooking it up, how I'm powering it, that kind of stuff. I didn't really go into running it because I think Callum did a better job of that. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I got all the parts in for that. I've actually got several things that have come in. I finally got the Meshtastic thing from Garth, that one with the extended solar panel, the bigger solar panel.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and what I'm hoping to do is to get that out like as far as I can almost. I'm not going to go all the way to the back of my property, but I'm going to go back on the other side of the pond and connect it to something out there with a clear view of the sky.
As far as you can still make connection with, right? That's kind of as long as you can connect to it, that's all you care about.
I mean, it's only when you're talking about acreage, it's only about 200 or 300 feet, maybe 400 feet out there. And
then you can mesh with that. Yeah, that should be fine.
I
get
think
it high
that should be
enough
fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I was meshing from one end of my 2,600 square foot house to that, or to the other, and it, I mean, all of the nodes saw all of the nodes. I wasn't going through a node to get to another node, and there were walls and there were all kinds of stuff in between. So I think because there's nothing. I mean, I can literally see from my window here all the way back out there. So I think I should be able to just do it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've got the video shot. I just need to edit it a little bit, and I should be able to push it out tomorrow.
Excellent. All right. Well, appreciate you hanging out. And next is Rob, Digital Rancher. How's it going, man?
Going great. Let's see. I've been down that Meshtastic rabbit hole myself for a little while here. I just posted a video on the Spec 5 Beacon, Copilot, and Mini Trekker. So those are fully, they're not a roll your own type of thing. It's not just a case; it's the full device that they're providing.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a little review on that. Probably the coolest part of that whole thing is toward the end of that video, I show a sneak peek of a mobile game that they're creating using the Meshtastic network.
Oh, really? That's cool.
I just love that someone's creating some novel apps for the Meshtastic network. I think that's super cool. So I've been down that rabbit hole. I'm also playing with a Victron 20 volt 30 amp battery charger. I got my hands on some of these 100 amp hour batteries, and gosh, you gotta have a serious charger to charge these things in any reasonable amount of time. So that's a pretty cool charger. I'm probably going to do a little review on that. It's Bluetooth controlled, and it requires you to provide your own DC charging cables. So that's a little interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, getting ready for the Yellowstone park trip. So this is following the Zion Hamfest. There's a bunch of us going up to Yellowstone. So, my adventure starts in Utah, then goes to Idaho, then Wyoming, and then ultimately Montana. So really looking forward to that.
That's super cool. That's a lot of fun. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be hot. But you'll be all right.
Yeah, it's, luckily we're at 8,000 foot elevation, I think, there at Yellowstone. So it shouldn't be too bad. Actually, I'm glad it's warming up a little bit because I've been following the weather, and the nights have been in the 30s, but now they're up into the 40s, and they should be in the 50s by the time we get there. So
Hey, Bill. Rob, make sure Bill brings a heater.
Oh.
Yeah. Actually, I think Bill had a schedule change, so unfortunately, I don't think Bill's going to make it. But yeah, we got a good crew going. It's going to be a lot of fun, and those cold nights are not fun though.
All right. So I had a bit of a kerfuffle getting all my WSJTX set up. It was pretty weird. I have so many audio ports now after touching that Flex software. It's like crazy the amount of audio ports that thing sets up. It's like it's absolutely wild. I have a question for Adam, K6ARK though. So Adam, did you do the 40 through 10 QMX change, the modification?
I did.
How difficult is it? Because I was looking through it and it's like those are not very, for me, understandable changes to the build.
Yeah, so Dan partially wrote. He admitted today he kind of partially wrote that article the way he did to make it a little bit cryptic, because it's probably not something someone who just wants to follow instructions from a kit should try.
Okay. There you go.
Because for me to get it to work, I had to do a little bit of filter tweaking on the 20 meter filter to get it within legal limits for spurious emissions. So, but beyond that, basically all you're doing is putting the low band, the 40 meter filter for the low band build, right? The 80 through 20 build has a low pass filter that the 40 meter band uses. You're putting that in one of the low pass filter slots. I believe it's in low pass filter 0. So you have to, look at the schematic and identify which, which components those are, and then put the components that normally go in that 40-meter low pass filter into that right slot in your build. And then for the rest of the build, you're just following the high band kit components in those places. So you're kind of taking pieces from both, but then there's a couple more mods that you have to do. There was some additional capacitance that needs to be added to one of the low pass filters to help it work better for 20 meters. And then I found that still wasn't quite adequate, and I still had some spurs above. The second harmonic was above 43 dB down. So I actually I designed the filter in a piece of software called ELSIE, ELSIE, which is a filter design application that is free and you can download.
Yeah.
So I designed the filter in there, and then I tinkered with values to see what would kind of achieve what I needed. And then I ended up just having to add one 10 picofarad capacitor to increase the capacitance of one of the components, and that solved my problem. So
okay. Well, I've received the information I need. Josh, this is not necessarily the one for you. So I'll probably just build the kit I have and have fun with it.
That's probably a good bet, a good start.
Yeah.
If one were to embark on a modification mission, it's probably easiest to start with a high band kit.
Yeah.
And modify from there to get this 40 through 10. So
because mine was the original low banders from the 4 Days in May 2 years ago. So yeah, I'll just go ahead. And we just got an opening on 20 meters.
So the other quirk with that, starting with that kit, that guides you to the board Rev 1 instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rev 1 instructions were never updated with high band kit instructions. They only have the low band instructions. So you have to cross-reference the Rev 2 or Rev 3 instructions with the Rev 1 instructions and make sure you kind of fill in the gaps. So that made it a little bit more of a challenge too, but it wasn't too bad.
Right on. All right. Well, thank you for that answer. That's exactly what I needed. I can now sally forth and just build this dang thing and get it over with, because I actually do want to play with it. And I get 20 and 40, and that's what I'm on anyway most of the time. So I won't get 10, which is the only bummer, but that's okay. I can survive that. Sonic Gott says, huge thank you to HRCC and Ham Study for the help today. Past Amateur Extra KF0QNM. Amateur Extra. Congratulations to you, Sonic Gott, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're out there, and hopefully you're getting radioactive. So I got my FT8 turned around, and it looks like 20 meters is, again, just another fantastic evening on 20 meters for FT8, so we'll probably just be hanging out here for the rest of the show. But now it's open questions from anyone, anywhere, anything you want to talk about, assuming ham radio related. Give us 45 minutes before the wheels come off and we start talking about the Acolyte. I got a 1-star review on my podcast over on Amazon because we dared to talk about the Acolyte, and I mentioned that I was watching. I was the third episode wasn't even out yet. I was watching episode 1 and 2 with my kids. That's all I said, and so far it looked okay. Then the third episode came out, and oh my goodness, it turned into an absolute political hot potato.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 3 and 4 is not good of the Acolyte. I'll just say that. Nobody give me any more 1-star reviews on the podcast. It's not good. But go watch Andor. Andor is absolutely fantastic. I'm now multiple episodes in. Fantastic. With that said, we'll come back to that. And if you still want to talk about that, stick around for 45 minutes or so. Any questions anywhere ham radio related, let's take them. It could be on YouTube, Discord, text, or voice. Doesn't matter. Come at us. Let's take your questions now.
I got a quick one.
I'll go Don first, and then I'll come back to, was it Chain? I'll come back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, my question is Meshtastic off the limits?
No, that's fine. RF related. Yeah, keep it RF. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
Go for it. Yeah.
So my question is, and I don't know because I haven't seen it. It would seem like this would be a possibility.
Okay.
That if you were to set up a Meshtastic network, why can't you also send sensor data, the same kind of sensors you could do in LoRa, over that same, like, have those sensors generate text messages back to you?
Yeah, and you should be able to. And in fact, if you checked out the interview I did with the devs, they talked about exactly that, adding that feature back in, because they kind of removed it if you think about it, because that's what LoRa is, the Internet of Things. And I don't remember the website that you'd set. So you'd kind of like register your devices with this IoTT website to bring the sensors in. But how it interfaces with Meshtastic, I'm not aware of because I haven't done it. And I know the devs talked about it on the live stream. And I see Ted W is saying you can. So there's probably a way to do it now.
Oh, okay, because that's what I was thinking. Well, okay, if they haven't done it, maybe I should start looking at their code and do it myself, because that to me is the most one of the for what I want to do. That's the most interesting. Would be able to say, put something out at back on somewhere on my property and stick, say, a couple of sensors in the pond. Maybe I want to measure the depth of the pond and keep an eye on the depth of the pond, or something like that. But at the same time, if there's somebody around me driving by, whatever, and they happen to pass by my node, then it would also provide Meshtastic to them as they're driving by, and the network would grow out here. So that's that. I mean, to me, it's like, well, let's get along with best of both worlds.
I understand that when you put a group of hams on any kind of RF thing, they're going to try and DX on it and try and make random contacts with people. I know that's just what we do. But for me, Meshtastic was never really about, aside from going to the Ham Fest, it was never really about like who I could potentially see or connect with. It was always about building that insular encrypted network to be able to talk to very specific people. Like that was always my goal. And fleshing out that network is purely, if I get the ancillary benefit of getting people on the primary channel that I can hear from, great. But I want those encrypted channels. That's what I'm really aiming for. And like having that fleshed out to a pretty good degree that I can get people dialed in on that are of my like local community and the people I'd want to communicate with in a disaster type situation. So that's always been my goal. So I guess I got a leg in both camps, if you will. But yeah.
Well, I tell you what, one of the coolest things, right? This does not have anything to do with the what you just talked about, Josh, but where I'm at, I have a lot of airline traffic that goes overhead.
Oh, okay.
And I am just shocked. And I'd be curious, Don, if you're able to pick up any of this. I'm shocked at how many people I see. Right, they'll see my router, and they'll announce what flight they're on. Right, so they're playing with these things in the air. They'll put their flight number, and then they'll drop their GPS coordinates. It's pretty crazy.
That would be cool. No, I haven't yet, because like I said, I just got this thing in from Garth. And to me, so do you have any on your property that's like out in the boonies somewhere where it's got to pretty much charge itself?
So I've got I've just been playing I've been playing with that beacon, which is the one that has the built-in solar panel from Spec 5. That panel can't sustain that device. They have another device that's built to be fully solar sustained, but I don't have that. I want to play with one of those because I've got lots of places I would love to put radios and sensors.
Yeah, and that's the same for me. I want to like put something out there, like I said, way out there on the other side of the pond, and kind of monitor what's going on out there. Say from one of the things that does upset me a little bit is that, like, for instance, with Garth and some of these other guys, they put these solar panels on there, and then all I can do is get the solar, the percent of battery charge. I'd love to be able to pull the percent of solar power that's coming
Oh,
in,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And then, of course, like I said, I'd love to put rain sensors out there. I'd love to be able to, you know, put a couple of sensors in the pond, and then have those things text that information back to me, or me be able to sit here in the shack. Because what I usually
Like
do
have a
is I'll hook up.
display that shows it. Like that would be nice.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, that. And what I do is I take one of my T-decks, connect it to my PC through USB-C, and then I run the Meshtastic application within PowerShell. And there's all kinds of nice stuff I can do in there. I don't like the Android interface very much.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure because that Meshtastic interface is written in Python, I can modify it to do exactly that. Take that data, push it over to Node-RED, and make all kinds of nice little displays out of it.
Right on. All right. So got a couple of things we'll hit real fast. Any tips on studying for general? Yep, hamstudy.org. Start taking practice exams. The website's free. Make an account. Start doing it. That's the best way. Just through repetitions. That's the best thing to do. Let's see. Next one. I would like to use a Raspberry Pi 4 to run my Hermes Lite V2. Has anyone tried this? Don might have. I don't think I did. I don't think I think I just put the proper software on my PC. Don, did you go through that whole rigmarole?
Yeah, Pi HPSDR. It's again, all of this stuff came out of Tapper, and there are multiple ways of connecting a Raspberry Pi to different devices, including the Raspberry Pi, and it's dead simple. I mean, it works very, very close to Heath, you're keying up, hot mic. Anyway, so you can run Pi HPA SDR, and it works very similar to Thetis in that it will auto detect the radio and find it for you and bring it on and all of that. So the interface is not the same. It doesn't have the same digital noise reduction, which for some reason you didn't like the new update. But anyway, and I
liked it fine. I just didn't like the lower
Yeah,
powered signals. Were very underwater sounding to me.
Well, yeah, I see. To me, compared to that external software that everybody's running, that RM noise thing, having all of that kind of stuff built into the radio and it's sounding that good.
Oh yeah, no question.
It's like, oh
yeah, no, I 1,000% agree that it's great. I just, for me, you know what I'm saying, is like,
yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's all.
saying that, like, what frustrates me is, look, if they can do that good a noise reduction for freaking free in an app that's basically open source software, then why the hell don't the radio manufacturers steal it, including Flex Radio? I mean, you're not stealing it. It's open source. Just pull it into your code.
I don't know. You know, there's probably some back end stuff they got to work out deals with. It has to. They've got to, you know, get agreements. They can't just steal, right? We know that. Come on, Don.
Well, yeah, you don't just steal, but I mean, we do. I mean, in our industry, we take code from open source all the time.
Oh yeah, but there's usually
nothing
some
wrong
kind
with
of
it.
statement that gets exchanged of agreement, or the
I know
person who
how that
created it. Yeah, you know. So yeah, I don't need to tell you.
but it's simple, and you all you have to do is set up a website where you give those people credit. But by the way, did you know that you do not have to tell anybody about that website unless you are specifically asked? So
okay.
A lot of companies do it. They use open source code and they do it exactly the way it says. So they've got a website out there, but you'll never know it unless you go and ask for it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And the written licensees from the developers can vary significantly. So I always throw legal on those type of things. Let them handle it.
Yeah, we only do GNU.
Okay.
What is the one that Sun did?
I don't know. But
Creative Commons, I think. And
Yeah.
there's if it's Creative Commons, you can do whatever you want with it. You don't even have to give them credit.
All right.
But anyway, sorry.
You're good. We're just getting into the weeds too much a little bit on this show. Let's get to back of the questions. Here's another one. I'm thinking about adding a new VHF UHF HT to one of my kits. I own the Kenwood THD74, the Yaesu FT5D, and the Alinco DJS11. I'm considering the ICOM ID52, the ICOM ID50, and the BTEC UV5X3. So I don't have the BTEC, but I have both the ID52 and the ID50. And considering the radios you already own, you might really like the ID50, assuming the screen doesn't bother you that much, because the battery lasts forever. The battery on that thing is phenomenal. It is so, I don't know what they did differently. It's got to be the screen, I'm guessing. The screen difference between the 50 and the 52, the 52 is good. Don't get me wrong. It's better than both the Kenwood and the FT5D, no question. But the 50, the battery lasts forever. It's really, really good. So I don't know. BTEC UV5X3 users want to chime in, go for it. What are your thoughts?
I'll chime in about the ID50. Basically the same thing you said. I've had it since, I don't remember, at least 8 months now, and I've charged it maybe 4 times in those 8 months.
Pretty good.
Like 4 times in 8 months. What other device can you do that with? All right, I've said my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's a best battery on a HT I've ever owned.
Yeah. Wait, what did Adam just say? How many? You have at least the LCD on the 50 Alpha? What is that? And you have 20?
No, 20 total. Lots of HTs, not 20
gotcha.
of the 58s.
I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised after you told me how many HTs you dragged up on top of the mountain, but at the same time, like 20 is a bit extreme. So yeah, you're talking the ID50, right?
Yes, yeah, no, it's my favorite of the bunch, and it's very good. It's got a very good user interface. It's very intuitive. It's very easy to program and organize the channels, saved memories into groups or banks, if you want to call it that. Very easy to change, power settings and things like that. So I really like it.
There you go.
The only thing with the ID50 though, the battery life is great, and thank everything holy that there's USB charging, because to get a second battery is $140 on DX Engineering. So I'm going to carry a small cell phone battery and recharge it as I need it, because I'm not paying over $100. I'm not even going to pay over $50 for a battery.
Really? I got the big Chungus, the one that they came out with for the 705, and the 705 battery will go into the ID52. Are they not the same batteries?
So the BP272, which I think comes on the 705, on DX Engineering is $133.
Oh, I had no idea.
And the BP307 is $140.
Oh wow,
But-
prices went up.
Josh, you also have to remember Eric's probably paying an extra $100 in shipping just to get it to Hawaii.
No, that's the price to buy it. DX Engineering actually ships to Hawaii really cheap.
Oh, okay. I was going to say you're probably paying through the nose to ship it to Hawaii too.
No, this is the price shipping on DX Engineering.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Now I got to look up the batteries on HRO and see what's going on.
I mean, the good news is you don't need a second battery, right? This is the battery's that good. This is the first HT that I've not bought a second battery for.
Yeah, I just have a small USB cell phone, and I'm just going to charge it. That's why radio manufacturers don't want USB-C charging, because we're not going to pay $130 for a battery when I can get an Anker battery pack for $20.
Yeah, you're onto something. I think you're totally right. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you get PD fast charging batteries now, and I get it. The charging circuitry in most of the HTs is not power delivery. But still, yes. Yeah, I hear you totally.
I'm trying to find it, but Mike K8MRD, aka Ham Radio Tube, found some batteries that are exactly the same battery for the ID50, and they're, I guess you could call them Chinese knockoffs, but they work as great as the Icon batteries. I'm trying to find where he had those.
Okay.
Yeah, the battery life is a product of the radio, not necessarily the battery itself. Because 7,800 milliamp hour or a 3,500 milliamp hour battery at whatever voltage, as long as the battery doesn't explode, they should all relatively be the same. I mean, there's not. I doubt ICOM is actually making the battery themselves. But and the same thing. Do you want to carry around a Chinesium, LiPo battery in your pocket?
Right.
I don't.
I do not. Right on. Well, no, that's good. Good point. Good comment. All right. Open it up for all questions. I think we got through the rest of the chats. We're down to the bottom here of the list. Let's see. Okay, here's one from, well, I'm not going to try it. It's a Discord. Let me see if I can find it on Discord. Where is it? Question from Chain. Wait, you're in voice chat. Why don't you just can you just talk to your question, Chain? Go for it.
Yeah, I sure can. How am I sounding?
A little quiet.
Okay, I can get the mic a little closer to my face here. I'm on a Panasonic Toughbook, and this is as loud as I can get. So it was a good topic tonight. How about now with the mic closer? How's that sound?
Better. I'm bumping you as well on Discord, but yeah, go for it.
Okay, so my question was a little more on the social side of ham radio than the technical side, but I've just come across a lot of QSOs where it's really obvious that the two stations, they've been working each other for a long time. So sort of a two-part question here. Have any of you kind of built on-air relationships with hams that you've never met face-to-face, no eyeball QSOs? And how do you do that? Because I just passed extra. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, everybody, for the inspiration. I passed my extra test on field day, and that's kind of my next step. I want to get into the rag chewing side of things and go on from there. So I'll pass it on to the group.
Well, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where there's not like a prescribed method other than to do it, right? So the more QSOs you make, the more check-ins on HF nets you make, you're going to generate a list of call signs that just become mentally familiar to you. You see them and you're like, oh, that's so-and-so. I know them, blah, 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 right? So that's like what you should be doing, is just making contacts with people constantly. I would say that a lot of those call signs that are familiar to me are now largely like YouTubers, literally, that I see them, or they're people that chase us often when we're doing POTAs or SOTAs. And it's generally like when I catch up with them, like in person, it's at one of these big old ham fests. So like Hamvention, Hamcation, Huntsville, that kind of thing. It's kind of like our yearly time to meet up with people. And that's not just me, that's like hams in general. Like we always end up going to some location that we're kind of all at, and you're like, oh, you're so-and-so, you're that call sign. And then you get to put the face to the actual call sign and name and all that stuff, which is more often than not how I experience it. Like if you're talking HF, then that's kind of how it goes, right? You exchange QSL cards or not, or you just, talk on the air. What you'll find, though, is if it's like local stuff, like local VHF, UHF, you'll probably run into them at club meetings. Like if you go to a club, if you find a good club in your area, that's where a lot of that stuff can happen. And that's kind of been my experience. Or like the repeater people. They're people you talk to on the repeater that their call sign, they're in such and such city. You might bump into them somewhere, or maybe you go to a ham radio event and they're also going, and you mention it on the air and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to that too. Okay, cool, let's tag up. It's more or less something that, again, comes from using the radio, that you pick up a lot of that stuff, if that makes sense. Anybody else want to add any thoughts to that?
I'll add something there, Josh. And this is something that really stuck with me. When I made my very first satellite contact, I mentioned to the other operator that it was my first satellite contact because I was stoked. I was excited.
Yeah.
And it was Terry Adams, and Terry, probably within 15 minutes, had sent me an email. First of all, just confirming the contact, but then just offered a bunch of helpful hints. And, he had put in a copy of a audio file of his first contact with an astronaut on the ISS. And so that was something that really stuck with me. Every time that I make a contact with somebody and I know it's their first contact, whether it's a satellite contact or something else, I follow up and send that person an email. And I can't tell you how many of those have turned into kind of ongoing relationships, right? And it's just the personable side of the hobby, right? Which is great.
Yeah, I think that's I think that just adds more details to it. But it's generally the people that like will reach out. So I like that Digital Wrencher recommendation of send an email. Why not? Particularly if it's like your first time or they've talked. I will add though that there's a ton of times when I'm HF and I'm tuning around and I stumble on somebody that's making QSOs, and I'll hear them making these different QSOs, and you'll hear a call sign and like, oh, we worked last year, because they're looking at their logs. They type in the call sign and their log shows the last time I made a contact. And I'll tell you that most of the time, propagation can be a little flighty on HF, that you may not talk to that person again for months, right? It depends on how far away they are from you. If you can work daily QSOs with them, they're probably a little bit closer, but not too close. So it's those more far-flung QSOs, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, I haven't talked to you in 12 months. How you been? How's it going? Blah, 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 blah. It's more like that from my experience.
May I interject one thing real quick?
Yeah.
A side topic.
Mm-hmm.
Something you just said really strikes home with me. People that use loggers that tell you when was the last time you talked with them, like N3FJP's logger. I really wish HamRS would do that. I know it's for POTA and field date, but I really wish it would do that, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone, I know I've worked that call before, and then I have to go through 3 extra steps just to see if I've, when was the last time I worked them.
Well, watch Mike do a POTA activation sometime, and what is it, K7 SEN comes on, and he knows he's worked him several times. I know Ken too. That I also know the guy in Alaska that he's always out there, always working POTA stations and letting us know, hey, you're being heard in Alaska. So there are some people that I pick up, I just know from POTAs that, it's somebody that works me regularly.
You're thinking of Mike AL7KC in Alaska.
Is he the guy at North Pole?
Yeah, yes, Mike's North Pole.
Yeah, AL7AC, yes.
So admittedly too, I'm pretty bad at remembering a lot of call signs. Mike is much better at it. So some hams just have this innate capability to remember call signs and remember voices and all that stuff that some don't. And that's okay too. Oftentimes if you find yourself that you're more like me, where you might not remember call signs as well, then you might want to try and work some QSOs from your home, so that you do have the advantages of loggers that'll tell you when was the last time you worked a call sign and help you out a little bit, right? So everybody's different, so you just kind of have to play to your strengths.
Just a side note, Polo.
Josh.
Yeah. Go Adam and then Grayman.
Grayman, go ahead. I'll take.
Oh, okay. Go ahead,
after
Grayman.
I have a little story to tell.
Yeah. So Polo, something I noticed because I've been using it a lot. The portable logger from Sebastian. As long as you've got history, it will come up and tell you when you enter somebody's call sign in, how many QSOs you've had with them. And I think you can dig some more information. But you can also load your ADIF files in there, and so you can build that history in Polo. So that's something to look at.
I'm gonna look at that. That's incredibly valuable.
That is one reason why I switched to Polo over HamRS, Tim, is because of that feature alone.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I can. And so this is Sean. I've activated 1,000 parks, and now when I talk to people, I can let them know, hey, we've worked together 25 times. We worked together the first time, and actually I let them know that we've never worked together before, and they get a kick out of that. So that Polo app, 100%. I use. I've probably activated 300 parks with it. Yep.
I think that.
Just being able to get the QRZ information, and hey Bob, you're 5'9" into the park today. That lifts people up pretty quickly.
By the way, John, congratulations on your 1,000.
Thank you very much.
Right on. All right, Adam, go for it.
All right. So, Josh, I don't know if you're.
You're cutting in and out.
To a park and we're.
Hold on, you're roboting pretty bad wherever you're at.
No.
Not great.
My internet is terrible.
Wait for it to catch up. I know it takes a second. Okay, try again.
How is it any better?
No. I know it. I know it comes in and out. I know it comes in and out. So maybe give it a minute. Yeah, you're turning into a dialect right now. Yeah, switch to RF, Adam. He's in an area where the internet's not great. He's out in the sticks a little bit. So
he needs to start tapping out CW to you.
Yeah. We have to decode it live.
Hey, Josh, quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the Polo app, is that available on the Apple iTunes?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it on iTunes?
Okay, what's the search term on it?
Portable Logger or Polo.
Hey, Richard, go to their website.
Yeah.
That's still in test flight, so you have to download the test flight app.
Go to the website and download or take the links from there because it'll get you onto the test flight app. You can't just pull up the app store to do it.
Richard, I just sent you the link to it in Discord DM, so you should have a direct message from me here in Discord. I just sent you the link for it. I also dropped it in the live stream chat.
And the PC version is available when? I don't care whether it's Mac or Windows or Linux.
I don't know.
Sebastian is working on that. He wanted to get the harder version done first, and that is your iPhone. And
yeah,
then
that's harder to see, too, for people that have trouble seeing small text.
Well, he does have it on iPad, and I do believe, Tim, that's what you're using the iPad for it.
And the iPad overheats. That's my problem with it.
Yeah. iPad.
It is coming.
It runs on iPad. If you've got the newer version of the Mac on the silicone chip, it'll also run iPad apps, so you can run it on there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have an M2.
Yeah, let's see if
you can run it that way.
Let's see if we can go back to Adam really quick. Otherwise, I'll read his comment because No, you're good. You're good. And let's see if he's back. Let's see.
All right. How about now?
That's way better. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. We'll give it a try. So Josh, when you were testing some of the cheaper 10-meter rigs, you made contact with N9NUQ, a guy named Roberto. And he's very friendly and conversational and just, a really nice contact on the bands. And I recognize that call because he was my first ever HF contact in like 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little Radio Shack HTX10 and a wire dipole on the deck. And I heard this guy calling CQ and I replied. And he very kindly kind of coached me through how to zero beat his signal with that radio and make the audio sound clear so I wasn't off frequency, and completed the contact, and he sent me a QSL card and everything. Super nice guy. So fast forward to a couple months ago, and I get an email from someone asking me to build one of my antennas for them, and I don't normally do that because I just don't have time to build antennas for others. But I look at the call sign, and sure enough, it's Roberto N9NUQ, and so I wrote him back. I'll paste this email that I sent him in the chat, but I kind of explained the story and explained how his contact with me and the way he handled that, being so welcoming and helpful, and just being such a good operator on the air. I said, I'm more than happy to build you an antenna and send you what you what you want.
What do you want?
Anyway, he wrote back a nice response, and I just thought that was kind of a cool thing where the stuff kind of came full circle from a contact and even at this point maybe a friend on the air. So
yeah, and you know what's really, just to add to that story some, Robert actually bumped into me at a ham fest, and the way I recognized him, and yeah, I recognized the face a little bit, he was wearing this jacket. And the jacket, I mentioned when I did the video, I think, how cool it was that he had all these patches on his jacket. He had a jacket. I don't remember if it was this one exactly, with all the patches on it. I was like, oh my gosh, are you, I don't know that I even remembered his call sign, but I'm like, did we make a contact on like 10 meters? And then I had to go look him up, and I had my phone, and I had the logs like from Hammers that I could pull it up when I was in that park. Sure enough, it was the same guy. He's like, yeah, I remember that. He's like, hey, thank you so much for putting the little pictures on the video and all that stuff. Super cool guy, super nice guy. And that's like, yeah, that's a great example, Adam. That's a fantastic example. Yeah. Super cool. Yeah, hopefully that answered the question. That was a good one. Good question. All around.
Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks. I liked that. Yeah, my big takeaways were participate more in the HF nets, which for some reason I've been really intimidated about. And then I've noticed just I upgrade or updated my call sign with the upgrade. I've got a lot more email correspondence from other hams, even just since doing that. So, okay. Cool. Yeah, like I said, that's kind of my next steps. So that's what I wanted to do. And that was a great conversation. Thanks to everybody who had input on that.
Oh, have you done the HRCC net?
Oh, yeah. Join us on the Friday net.
Yeah.
It's on HF.
Okay. All right. Is that usually on 40 meters?
Yeah.
Yeah. We coordinated. If there's a channel up above called HF net, and we coordinate everything through that Discord channel. So seeing that you're in the Discord, I mean, one of the things is here, I mean, we get to know each other. We know, like, I mean, everybody knows Evan. We work with Evan. Evan runs the net and is kind enough to do so. And then, we all kind of know each other, and you get to learn a lot of these guys' voices and stuff like that just from listening to them, do their little over when Evan gets around to us. So it's a friendly net, just as friendly, and you can work with us on Discord if we can't hear you. That things like that. Conditions on 40 are not always great, but we love to have more people on the HRCC net.
And rule number one of the HRCC net: never ask what frequency it's on at any time until Evan posts it.
Yeah, don't.
It's always wild.
Yeah, you just join the Discord and go to the HF net, #HF net, and they start coalescing around 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and usually there'll be pre-check-ins, and the net formally kicks off around 6:30. And you do the best you can, because it's like 40 meters is always a crapshoot, but it's 20 meters. So the reason why we don't do like 20 meters is kind of like what you're seeing above me. Like, we're going to be flying over each other's heads. It's just too long of a band at that particular time. So 40 meters is still really good for kind of countrywide coverage. Even 100 watts can do it with a decent antenna. So that's why we kind of stick to 40 meters.
And every once in a while, it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while, we'll get Josh will grace us with his presence.
I do try to get out there, and we did it last week on the Flex, which honestly was a fantastic situation. So we'll be definitely doing that again.
Really, Flex?
Well, I haven't got it yet. They haven't even
No.
charged me for it, which I'll pay them gladly right now if I can get bumped up on the list. If people are lagging on their payments, let me go first. Let me go. Really quick. There was a cool. I think who was
Prep Ham Paul.
It was Prep Ham Paul. Yeah, he does this spousal preparedness thing, which you're gonna have to tune into Prep Ham Paul if you want to know more information on that. But somebody said, are there HTs your wives are amenable to carry in their purse? And I can answer that. Yes, Leia has seen all of my myriad HTs, and the HT that is quote-unquote hers is the ID52. That is the only radio she wants to operate on, and I'm like, well, honey, you've always had fantastic taste. And I can say, like, yes, that is a pretty radio for anyone to carry, let alone a lady.
Yeah. Now, years ago, I have to tell this story real quick. Years ago, my wife went on Amazon and she goes, "Hey, they have radios on Amazon for $21. I'm gonna get one." And so she ordered a Baofeng, and that was the one that was in her purse and in her car. She had one in her car and one in her purse all the time.
Nice. Hey, that's great. I love that. That's a great story. I love that, Don. Thanks for sharing that. So yeah, that would be the one. Is the ubiquitous Baofeng. Oh, I just realized my ISO is pretty trash right now. Let's bump that up. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Where are we at now? Oh, that's exactly where we want to be. That's a sweet spot. Ran that whole live stream. Didn't even check the ISO. Whew. What a trash YouTuber I am. All right, open questions from anyone, anywhere, voice, text, or otherwise. And I have a child that is walking in with a Nintendo Switch and a controller. What is going on?
What's your Wi-Fi password?
I'm not doing Wi-Fi passwords. That already had Wi-Fi on it.
Remember we went to the airport.
Yeah, but you don't lose the Wi-Fi that was already loaded on there. Oh, Jesus. Why aren't you asking Mommy this? Why am I the one?
We'll be in the room.
Let's get out of here. Because Mommy is in her room? Go ahead. You're a little spotty, so we'll
Hi, Dad.
Somebody said they have questions. Go ahead.
What's your question?
What's your question?
You have a question, so what's your question?
Oh no, you're roboting pretty bad. Give it a close the door, Edison. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, you had a bit of the Adam Dilek effect going on. So just wait a second. It's just like propagation. Move around a little bit and see if your propagation improves. Okay, honey? And then come back.
That's right. You're down in the gravy. Wait 5 minutes.
You're down in the noise. You wait 15 minutes and come back.
I've been very lucky. My Starlink has not done that yet.
Try live streaming.
I don't think I'd have any issues at 200 meg up and 30 meg down.
It's the consistency. It's the consistency. There's dropouts on the upload. Like if you watched Amanda on the Ham Nation live stream we did, there's just occasional dropouts. It gets a little fussy in there. It's not bad. It's probably gonna get better too, but you know.
I'm working from home and using it. I've got to be on Teams meetings pretty much all day long. Have not had an issue, but that's
people don't complain on Teams meetings like they do in YouTube comments, Don. You know
oh yeah, they do.
No, not nearly as much as YouTube. Come on.
Oh yeah, they do. You should deal with some of the Indians. They are quite, and of course they're the ones with the problem too.
Speaking of Amanda, Josh, she was in the main live stream chat earlier.
Oh yeah,
and her and Jeff got the park activated, including, I've forgotten where it was, she said, but I think Indonesia or something like that from the park.
Oh, so. That's awesome. That's exactly what they needed, because I think that they're going to get hooked on POTA. I bet you they'll get hooked on POTA with their setup they have, and with taking little trips like that they do. They're the exact, like, both of them, Jeff and Amanda, they're fantastic HF operators. They're exactly who we want doing POTA. It'll be fantastic if they start doing POTA. I love that. Love it. I got a comment from live grid what is it? Grid Tracker comment from YV5RVC says, thanks, Josh. Big fan from Caracas, Venezuela. Oh, yeah, buddy. Right on. That's awesome. Hey, thank you. That's super cool. That is one thing I like about the Grid Tracker is that occasionally you'll get like a message randomly. That's super fun. Super, super fun. All right. Let's see. I think we're still taking open questions because I think we conquered many a thing on the computing setup. I'm with Dawn. I think there's many times I've come to Dawn's side on things. I think everybody knows that. I like the idea of just a little simple blocky thing that you could use as I wouldn't use it as my stream computer. There's no way. I need a good video card and all that other stuff. But like for a shack computer, I may even go so far as to start integrating something like that to communicate to all my radios when I go live, because there's been a couple live streams where I've had to restart the computer, and I can't restart the computer when I'm live. This is me. If I restart, I lose the live stream. So having a computer that I can connect into, or maybe over network, be able to connect into the computer to be able to use it, that might be the way to do it. That might be the way to. Oh, Adam, I didn't know it. I didn't know I loved Adam any more than I could. But then I refused to do Starlink. Yes, yes.
Unfortunately, because I work from home, I don't see a choice out here.
Oh, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, on some of the live streams, I'm like, if I just go Starlink, I'd probably be fine. But Adam, were you going to say something? Go ahead.
No, I wasn't. What I actually ordered, I'm gonna try a T-Mobile based internet service and see how that works. Right now, I'm on just a local managed RF based, ground RF based system. I can't get any wired stuff here at the house, so I'm kind of stuck.
Have you tried a booster with a proper Yagi on it?
I'm going to see how the T-Mobile 5G coverage is here. It should be decent. And what I get right now is like, I'm probably getting less than a megabyte up right now, which is awful. So
yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm getting with AT&T.
The T-Mobile for a while, and it's pretty good because they will not send you the box to your house unless they qualify your address is close enough to a tower. So if they'll send it to you, you have a pretty good chance it'll work.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I understand. So fingers are crossed. I should have it probably within a few days, and we'll see how it.
Yeah, from what I've heard, T-Mobile internet is, first of all, it's one of the best out there, and then they're pretty good about, they won't send it out unless they know it works, and they will not send it to me. So.
Hey, Adam,
Don, for what it's worth, I dropped my T-Mobile when I got my Starlink up, and I went Starlink exclusive for almost 2.5 years until I got fiber.
Well, yeah, we're not going to get fiber out here. The thing is, when I have a booster on my house now, just to get cell signal, and if I use that booster to try to get out, I'm getting about 1 meg up and 0.01 down. It is terrible, but I can get cell calls, but that's it.
Dawn, you don't have Nextlink out there in your area?
Not where I'm at. It is out here, but it does not come to where I am. I've talked to them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've had pretty good luck with them. It's a Wi-Fi, but I think they'll do. I mean, they'll come out and evaluate what speed they can accommodate before they just charge you for some random speed. Like out here where I'm at, I can get 500 meg.
Yeah, they told me they didn't have the equipment out there. What Starlink? I have the standard dish.
The version, is it the
version 3
2
or version 4? Basically the latest one, the kind of flat square dish.
Version 3.
The one that tilts though. It moves or is
No,
it
no,
immobile?
fixed. It's fixed.
Josh?
Yeah. Yes. Somebody said Josh. Yes.
Sorry, switch my mic off. You're a keen POTA activator. Have a look at San Juan County in the Pacific Northwest.
San Juan County in the Pacific Northwest. I'm like probably 700-800 miles from there. What? Like,
I know, but it's not so far.
It's pretty far. Like, I would fly there if I was going to do that. Like San Juan. Okay, let's pull it up. Hold on.
I flew here from the UK.
I'm not saying you can't.
Right. Well, doesn't Whiskey Echo 4 Delta X-Ray do POTA events out there?
Yeah. Yeah, they're up in like where are you around Oregon?
So it's a nationwide club, but there's a large contingent of us in the Pacific Northwest. Every now and then, a few of our members will rent a boat, and they'll hit a bunch of the islands around the San Juan Island, Susha Island, a couple I can't remember, but there's POTAs in the area.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? It's in Oregon, right?
Washington, so it's between Washington and Canada.
Got it. Where is San Juan Island?
It's west of Seattle. Yeah, Everett.
Yeah, northwest of Seattle.
By Portland?
North of there, up by Vancouver Island.
Oh, up by Vancouver Island. Okay, I think we found it. Am I on it? Somebody tell me, because it's not showing me any.
Right
Are you
there,
going to
right there?
Yeah.
Are you going to HamCon Zion there, Josh?
I haven't decided yet. I've got to basically figure that out after we do this live stream and tomorrow, because I got to let those guys know if I'm going or not. I want to. Short answer, want to, but I have a lot of work stuff going on, and unfortunately, I was hoping to get the answer of how intense my my week was going to be last week for this coming week, and I did not get that answer. So I almost have to go in on Monday, catch up with everybody and see how crazy it's going to be, and then decide from there. At least I think that next week is dodging the big week, which is the following week, where I definitely have to be in the office. So far, it's highly likely, but I guess you won't know until I start posting about it. All right, so I have my son here. Wait, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was wondering if you could hear me now.
Yeah, we hear you. You're making it.
All right, I had the question earlier. I was just in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, did you get your question? Did you ask the question, or do we need to go back? Go ahead if you want to ask it.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to ask because I had to come back where I know I had Wi-Fi signal to be able to ask.
Yeah, go for it. What's the question?
What do you know of any kind of HF, like data-heavy HF, that could be used either in the ham side or the commercial side that you can send large packets on HF?
Why don't you just tell me what you're trying to do, and then we might be able to back into the answer instead of like, what is the goal of what you're trying to build up?
Well, I'd like to be able to stably send packets of like programs or large files over HF, but the bandwidth and the propagation is really for the ham side. It's just not meant for it.
Yeah. There's not really a good solution to that. Even with the baud rate removal that recently happened, we haven't seen a lot of the applications get fully upgraded for that yet, but you can use something called VAR AC for point-to-point communication, to which you can exchange files. The problem is that large files in particular, it takes a very long time. Ask Don. Ask Don. He knows all about that. Because we spent like 30 minutes probably sending a file, like a single image back and forth. So yeah, a small image, and it can take a long time if you don't have a very good connection to each other.
That
well, that's what I was wondering, if there was a commercial side that had a bigger bandwidth.
No.
Commercially, they use satellite.
Yeah. So the thing to keep in mind is it's not so much. So as you go lower in frequency, your bandwidth must become massive to be able to move big data. But as you get closer in frequency, higher frequency, you get bigger bandwidth, but it's not taking up the entirety of the band. And so when you see a lot of the big data moves that people are doing, they're on like 70 centimeters and into microwave spaces because the frequencies are much closer together. You're thinking the oscillation. So the bandwidth doesn't have to be as wide. There isn't some like secret sauce to this or like some secret band that you need to get access to make this happen. And there's not necessarily like a technological hurdle to be able to do fast data. You can do fast data or fast-ish data on HF, but it generally requires having a very good antenna setup and a very good propagation connection to the party you're trying to communicate with. That's always almost more important than how much data you can throw through the RF, if you will.
So I'm going to need something like an antenna like the Vatican has.
Well, again, it depends on what you mean. How far do you want to talk? Who are you trying to talk to? You know, what bands are you trying to do? All that stuff. Do you have that stuff lined up that you've been thinking about?
Well, unfortunately, I'm on the East Coast, and a lot of the guys that I communicate with are on the West Coast.
Yeah, that can be difficult. So in your case, 20 meters would probably be the band. Probably 20, 17, and 15 meters would be what you're looking for. Those are going to be daytime bands. You're going to be talking about like the daytime window where you're kind of both in that little sweet spot that you can kind of be in the day space. And then even then, it's going to be scattershot on with the propagation window is going to work for you or not. And it doesn't matter how wide the bandwidth is going to be. If the propagation window is closed, it's closed.
All right.
So Sean commented no encryption though.
Satellite?
I don't know what that has to do with it. So I don't know what that has to do with it. What about satellite? If you're talking about commercial satellite data communication, you're going to pay money for that. Why don't you use Starlink then? Let's get right down to it. Amateur radio is off grid, right? We're not paying a service for amateur radio. We're not exchanging information or data on amateur radio on the grid. We're not paying anybody to be able to do this. We're putting up big old antenna contraptions and we're putting amps on radios to try and get as much out and receive as much in as we can. We're concerned about both sides of the equation. If you want just a solution to be able if you want just a solution to be able to move data and you don't mind paying somebody to do it, then get Starlink if you want to be in the middle of nowhere. I have no problem telling you, go get Starlink, go get HughesNet, go get something, right? If that's what you need. If you're talking about a true disaster calm situation, then those might not be reliable options. They just might not be, Yeah,
I don't want to use anything I don't own.
So then you're back to the realities of amateur radio, which is we try and have the best antennas up in the air that we can, about as high as we can get them up for the bands that we want to operate on. And if you're in the East Coast and you want to talk to the West Coast, hey buddy, you're probably going to need an amplifier and you're probably going to need an antenna that's 50 to 100 feet above the ground. And the other side's going to need that too if you want to do that consistently day in and day out.
Well, and then you are, even with all of that, you're subject to the sun. And if we have a solar flare, you're not going to talk that day.
I mean, that's true, but 100 feet antenna and 1,000 watts is going to help you a lot. You're going to be doing more contacting than you possibly could otherwise without that. That's for sure.
He could try pay for like one of the RHR things for a few weeks. And
yeah, but then you're depending on the internet because you're interneting in.
True, but what you're doing is you're exercising a massive station. You're using the internet to get to that massive station. But if you were to put up a massive station like what Ray puts up,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see what that can get you.
The problem though is that the other side has to have that too.
Right.
So now both of you are on remote ham radio and you're trying to make contacts on it, which is great. You know, that may be your proof of concept, kind of like, let's test it out.
That's all I'm talking about.
I gotcha. Yeah. So the downside is that, okay, now it's time to start dropping big cash to be able to. So let me be really clear. This question I get all the time, right? And the reality of it is it's consistency that kills you. Look at Tech Prepper, right? He did a really good video trying to talk to T-Rex Labs, and they ran into all kinds of problems because consistency is the issue with amateur radio. Consistently making contacts over vast distances to the party you're intended to talk to is very difficult. Now, you increase the reliability and consistency by adding height and better antennas and also more power, right? And also leveraging modes of operation that are like more resilient to noise conditions that the sun may be spitting out. So something like JSA call. That is the reason why JSA call was the solution that they were able to use inevitably to make a contact with each other, because JSA call is going to be a lot more effective in bad environments. So that may be the option. You might be able to get away with 100 watts in a wire with JSA call. The consistency is going to be the problem, right? That's the thing you have to worry about.
And putting up two massive towers that cost $100,000 each to get RHR level seems like a lot of money to solve a problem.
Yeah, not 100,000. You can do, you just have Alec come in. I'll probably do a live stream with Alec in the future where he just talks about his station and walks through how much it cost him. But you're talking about 20 grand about there, I'm guessing, for something that's really competent.
Well, if you want RHR level though, you like.
Well, that's of course.
$100,000 easy.
Yeah. But that's an intensity of, that's like the 1%er of 1%ers kind of thing in ham radio. What Ray does. I got to meet Ray. Yeah. Ray's an interesting character. I got to finally meet him in person at the last Hamvention. Cool guy, but yeah, also a bit of a wild man. Yeah, so Adam is also, he says it's not that difficult to be consistent with contacts from points within the U.S., but you need to step up your game. Yeah, so a lot of people want to default to single sideband. I want coast-to-coast communication to the same person every day, single sideband. Good luck. That's difficult. Even with a Ray station, that's difficult, right? So you could get by 100 watts, again, with a decent wire antenna, pretty high up, 50 feet up kind of thing. I think that's what you want to aim for. And then like JSA call, Morse code, CW, right? I'm still staunchly in the camp of, if you give a really good antenna to someone that can do Morse code, they're going to probably beat even JSA call and FT8 on consistency, because they got the ears on, they can hear the signal, they're good at operating Morse code. That's going to do better in most cases. The problem is if we're talking about really sustainable off-grids communication, getting a bunch of preppers to all line up to learn Morse code is probably harder than when I make a video to hams saying, you need to get on Morse code. The hams will say, like, you're right, I do. That's something that's been on my list for a long time. If you talk to like a beginner-ish prepper that gets into radio and they're deciding on whether to get in an HF or not, immediately pushing them towards CW is not going to work. It's a bridge too far at that point. So you got to start with JSA call.
Adam also has a good point.
Yeah.
It can most. Go ahead, Adam. You tell him.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that's accurate, but I think the other key element that doesn't get considered there is that the ops that are invested enough to learn CW are also invested enough to kill all their local noise sources, make sure they have a good receiving and efficiently transmitting system. So they're investing in all those other pieces of the puzzle that are going to make that whole system much more effective anyway.
100% right. Yeah, anybody who goes through the discipline of learning Morse code is probably also pretty squared away from an effectivity sense, efficiency of their station, that they can probably make it work. So yeah, I'm with Adam 100% on that too. Yeah. Hope that helped. Not really the answer you're probably looking for. I don't know of anything better than HF ham radio for long distances. I just don't think it exists, unless you're gonna pay somebody like a Starlink or some kind of commercial system that you don't own to be able to do that.
Well, you could always go this route. Instead of putting up an RHR type station, put a satellite into space, but make sure that you have the ability to bring it back down, because they want you to be able to do that too.
So Frank, obviously the solution to this problem is we need a geosynchronous satellite for voice and data that is directly in the middle of the United States. Obviously, yes. Obviously, yeah. So we just need to get started on that. Ham radio operators, start pooling your money for our own geosat, and we'll be good. We'll be great.
Or we could just make our own loon balloon.
I mean, sure. Why stop there? Let's make a full space elevator, or we can just space elevator our radios up until the outer atmosphere levels and just have antennas sticking off the side of it.
The ironic thing about that is I was somewhat joking, thinking that Eric, Hamstick Eric, would have a funny comeback after I said that, and he's already gone from the chat.
Oh, he's in the chat right now, not in the middle. Don't forget Hawaii. He just replied.
No, he literally left the voice chat because he has a sked that he has.
Oh, right. But yeah, he didn't go that far. He's still around. All right, so I gotta head out of here because I think I promised the kids a movie, but my son wanted to ask me a question. So Ben, you wanna get semi onto camera here? Leave that alone. Deal with it after. Jeez, you don't understand how lives work. He's playing around with God knows what over here. All right, what's your question, Ben? No, you got to get on the mic here. Get on the mic.
I have heard you many times talk about the Jenkapotamus and the crab top.
You just wanted to say the word crab top, didn't you?
No, this is a legitimate question.
Yeah.
So, in most case scenarios, which one would you prefer?
The crab top. So those are two separate laptops. The Jenkapotamus is the Evolve, the Maestro, or the Evolve Maestro 3 that you can get at Microtech. Or, yeah, right? Is that right? I don't know. Micro Center, sorry. Okay, the crap top, different laptop, almost similar specs, but better. I'll just show it to you so that you can see it on camera. Hold on. Just unplug it. Just take all the connectors out. Okay, so here is the official. The official crap top is the Gateway, and it is the GWTN 16-38K. That laptop, if you can get that at $100, even $150, is way better than the Jenkapotamus.
I don't think that Microsoft or
Micro Center.
Gateway. Okay, I don't know. Like the company
Microsoft
that owns,
Windows.
made this design.
Okay.
So
you're not on camera.
I don't think that Windows might enjoy him calling that the crap top.
No,
but
they don't like me calling. Bill Gates himself told me you should stop calling it the crap top. It's unacceptable. He said, Josh, we're going to buy you out if you keep doing that. And I remembered the Simpsons episode where they were buying out Homer's business, and I went, oh, I don't want that. That's not okay.
Wait, I'm not sure if that was a good question.
No, it was a great question. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. All right, go pick a movie, because go work with Mommy to pick a movie. I'll be in a second. All right. A couple more questions, because I'm pretty much wrapping things up here. Anybody else with anything? Otherwise, we'll just leave it at that, or maybe we'll talk about the Acolyte for the next 15 minutes.
Sure, but just a quick note: I'm really enjoying the podcast. I'm
way
behind,
thank you,
but really enjoying it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We got a 1-star review because we had the audacity to to speak poorly on Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which, by the way, the movie sucked. I'm sure the books are great. I'm sure the audio drama's great. The movie sucked. Period.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody tells me.
The British audio
oh yeah, it's got to be
television version was great.
It's got to be great.
Absolutely great.
The movies not so much. But yeah, right. we got slammed.
Josh, if you got a 1-star review for talking about the Acolyte, I'm gonna regret talking about what we did last night. So Jeff, you might have seen some of his stuff. K3JRZ on the air, Jeff. He does a lot of POTA out of Delaware. He's a YouTuber as well. And so he was my guest last night, as I mentioned earlier, on my Q&A AMA. And my brother, of all people, was in the chat, and he asked what Jeff thought of the Acolytes. And they had very differing opinions on it, and the chat was very active after that about it.
Did you get a 1-star review?
No, but if you got a 1-star review, I don't want to see what happens to mine.
All I said was that I was going to watch episode, there was literally only episode 1 and 2 on Disney Plus at the time. And on the podcast, I said, I watched 1 and 2 with my kids. 1 and 2 seemed fine. But the review came after 3 and 4 have come out. And 3 and 4 are wildly different from the first 2.
Right. And it gets worse.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody says. So,
but I'm not watching it. I'm just watching the guys that watch it and review it, and they are having a very hard time trying to get from one episode to the next. It's anyway.
Yeah,
because it is the Acolyte. It's almost worse than Rings of Power.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's not good.
I love the Wheel of Time, but go ahead.
So the movie. Okay, so I just had to look up the podcast. I'll drop the link for this week's episode in the chat. This next movie that we're gonna watch, I don't know that I can watch it with the kids. Although I'm thinking in my head this might actually be okay. Maximum Overdrive is the movie for the HRCC Movie Club. Wow, nothing? Nobody?
Oh, okay.
Bueller?
I'm so far behind on your podcast. I am going to send you an email, but
do it. Yeah, Don. Absolutely.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, Maximum Overdrive is a Stephen King adaptation to a movie, and it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
A killer semi?
What's that?
Was there like a killer semi or something in it?
Yes, the Goblin semi. Yeah, and the little 6-wheel ATV thing that has the M60 on it. that is a fully gimbal automated contraption. I think kids can probably watch that. Although there's probably some violence and gore, but I don't think it was that bad. I think the worst is the worst, and also my favorite is the dog that is dead and has like a police RC car jammed in its mouth, and there's blood around its mouth. That is the funniest thing for me, but yeah, we'll see. Wife might cancel that one.
I found the 18-wheeler that was out of control. I found that honestly terrifying to this day.
The Goblin semi?
Yeah. I am not somebody who likes to drive by or next to 18-wheelers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can see that.
So, they're totally fine.
So I understand what you mean.
I watched that movie even as a kid, and I was not scared an iota from it. I thought it was just like a cool, weird movie. I think Christine's better, but probably not going to watch that with the kids. Dude's trying to
remember. Remember Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic, dude. All I remember from Johnny Mnemonic is the villain who had like the thumb that he could like make it into a laser whip. And he would like cut people in half with it. That guy cracked me up.
Ice-T was a dog in that one.
Ice-T was a dog. I mean, isn't Ice-T always a dog? What are we talking about exactly?
Fair enough.
Well, as opposed to the dolphin.
As opposed to the dolphin.
Yeah, the dolphin was creepy with that whole hook up with the brain and all that. Yes.
I do know that he was in Deep Blue Sea. Wasn't he like one of the only people that survived Deep Blue Sea? No, not Ice-T. I'm thinking of
Samuel Jackson.
No, Samuel L. Jackson definitely died in Deep Blue Sea. LL Cool J.
Like
LL Cool J. LL Cool J, I think, survived Deep Blue Sea.
Gentlemen?
Oh! Yes, go ahead.
Now, I know I've been gone for a few weeks, but I have a question about a movie that I watched the other night called Insurrection. Have you ever talked about that one yet?
Insurrection. Which one is that? Give me a quick... Who's in it? I've probably seen it.
Probably. I don't know if they have any no-name actors, but turns out that the white supremacy has taken over the country, and these guys are waiting for a radio call to... they got like 3 CB radios waiting for a call from Canada to tell them how to get over the border.
The Insurrection? I have not seen this. If this is 2020, that movie, I have not seen it.
All right. Well, the only thing about that movie is they do have a radio in it.
Oh, well, so that qualifies that. So the Ham Radio Crash Course podcast, it's not playing the audio, right? Okay, good. So the Ham Radio Crash Course podcast movie club is we will review a movie if it's a disaster theme or some kind of like supernatural monster thing. If it includes radio, then you get like extra credit. So yeah, so like Contact made it on the list. Not really a disaster movie. Frequency, we reviewed Frequency, not a disaster movie. But obviously the podcast, we talk about preparedness and stuff like that. So disaster movies are usually like a big thing on our list. This doesn't look bad. It looks like it's well shot.
There's a review on it. It says, if you're a student filmmaker, this is a must-see. And then underneath that, he says, if you want to learn how not to make them film,
that's funny.
Watch this.
That's funny.
I would have to agree with it. I don't want to tell you nothing about it then because no one's seen it, but it's well,
it looks well shot.
It starts out pretty thought-provoking, and by the end, you are just kind of shaking your head.
Well,
so I do want to hit Covaine's statement. So everybody probably saw. Well, I don't know who. Okay, I don't know who's watching this, but the original Blob with Steve McQueen, right, is a classic movie. Classic. Right. They did a remake of the Blob, and it is fantastic. The remake is so good. It is. Wait, Kurt Russell? No, it's newer than that.
Not that one. Okay.
The more recent, The Blob. It is so good. Not the 1955 one, not the 1988. The more recent one than that. Oh no, it is the 1988. Yeah, really, it was 1988. I did not know that. That's the original, The Blob.
Year before I was born.
You're getting old, Josh.
I guess so. Jeez, man.
I was watching that trailer you had there for the Insurrection. Holy crap, that looks so cheesy.
I haven't seen. I haven't turned it on yet, so I don't really know. But it looks shot. It looks like it's shot well. No, 2000. I knew it was more recent than that. 2004. 2004.
Yeah. How about?
Yes, this one.
How about Civil War?
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard that it was not what you expected.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm left
lost.
You shaking your head.
Hold on. Is this?
My vote's always going to be range 15.
Is this?
Would there be extra credit with gun-related stuff as well?
Not extra credit. Is this?
Well, speaking of remakes, I heard that Twisters is having a remake done.
Well, it's Twisters. Twister is going to be. There's a new movie coming out called Twisters. Is it this?
I got an apocalypse movie. I'm just checking. This is not about the party game.
Okay, hold on. I have to. I have to go to Red Letter Media, pull up Red Letter Media, one of my favorite YouTube channels ever, and look for The Blob. Oh, it is 1988. Yeah, okay. So the 1988 remake of The Blob is fantastic. The practical effects are just very good. It gives you The Thing vibes. The Thing is one of my favorite horror movies, body dystopia movies of all time. It's so good. Go watch The Thing if you haven't seen it, with Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell is in that.
Okay, that's the one with Kurt Russell.
Yeah, it's a John Carpenter, Kurt Russell movie. They're in the North Pole in the Arctic station. So good. So good. Lot of practical effects. Everything is a practical effect. Wilford Brimley is in it. He plays like a absolute nutcase guy. It's great. We did watch
the movie I can shout out.
Well, I mean, shout outs are great, but you got to go to the podcast and you got to take the link to go vote on the Polly. That's where we take the submissions. But what's the movie?
It's an animated movie it's apocalypse animated movie. It's Blue Sub number 6.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Is it like an anime, or where'd it come out of?
Yeah, it's an anime. It was one of the first animes to come across the pond during when Toonami first got started on Cartoon Network.
Oh, so it's like it's like Bubblegum Crisis style of imagery. Is it old? Oh yeah, it looks old.
It's probably mid-90s.
Oh, okay, that's not that old. I'm thinking like Yu Yu Hakusho is like older than this.
Has anybody ever suggested to y'all on the podcast to look at Love and Monsters?
No, but I've watched Love and Monsters. It's very good. Well, I mean, the imagery of it's great.
So, did you like the radio portrayal in it?
I don't know that I hit on that one, or I forgot. I probably forgot. It's been so long since I listened. I watched it.
The whole premise of it is that so they're living in these underground bunkers right after this monster apocalypse thing, and he connects with this girl over the radio, and the radio is what starts the whole damn thing out.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I have to go. Because haven't they made a couple of them now?
There's apparently a Love and Monsters too. I haven't seen that one, but
it's the first one, because isn't it like episodic or something like that? It's like a vignette.
I thought it was all one movie, the way I remember it.
Okay, I have to go back and watch it then, because I guess I didn't watch it.
Yeah, he meets up with this girl over the radio, and they talk to each other over the radio. And the thing that got me is I'm looking at the radios going, because they're HF radios, and I'm looking at them going, I almost recognize that radio. But anyway, I didn't agree with the way they ran the radios, that the way they were portraying some of the stuff about the radios. But he connects with this girl, and she lives like some distance away, and so he decides, well, I've got to go meet her. And so he takes off through this monster-infected land to eventually meet with her. And then when he does, there's some really, it's just a weird movie.
Okay, so that's giving you Cloverfield vibes. I'm down. I like that.
Yeah. We watched it last year, Don. You literally read my mind. I was just about to say that.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go watch it.
And it's on Netflix too.
I'll give a shout out to. Did you watch Godzilla -1?
Not yet. I've seen the ads for it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's fun. It feels like the Japanese Jaws, because it's set after World War II. And like the main character is like a kamikaze pilot that didn't go through with it, so he's getting shamed by like people that he runs into that knows him, that knows he was a kamikaze and didn't commit suicide. And it's all building to this precipice of him fulfilling his destiny and fighting Godzilla. it's pretty good. And Godzilla is like scary, dude. It's really scary. They're in this little boat and they're like putting away, and Godzilla's just like swimming up on them. It's like, whoa, that's eerie, man. Godzilla's a scary thing if it's coming at you. It's a good one. That was good. That was fun. The kids watched that with me. That one's not that bad. The kids can watch that. It's not too crazy. All right, I think that's gonna do it for me. I guess we're gonna go watch Maximum Overdrive.
Do we know when the next season of One Piece is coming out?
Dude, I have not even dipped into One Piece. I have not done it. My kids are further along than me, but they don't pay attention to it. They just click around. They don't care. The only thing that they truly care about is Demon Slayer. That's the only anime that they're in.
This isn't the anime. I'm talking about the live action.
Oh no, I don't know about that. I have no idea.
Or am I getting it wrong?
No, you got
the
it.
Guy with Luffy in it?
Yeah, Luffy. The only Netflix adaptation that was any good has been One Piece. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really And what I was wondering is when the second season of that's coming out.
I don't know. All right. Well, I got to head out. So everybody, thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope we answered some of your questions. But if we didn't, join us next week, because that's what we do out here and try to have a lot of fun while doing it. So anyway, thanks everybody on the Discord.
73, Josh.
Take it easy. See ya.
73, Josh.
All right. Well, I hope you had fun in this evening of ham radio, and appreciate you hanging out with me. I had a lot of fun. Hope you did too. If you didn't, well, sound out in the comments what we should do differently next time. Until I talk to you again, a 73. I will go watch Love and Monsters after, I don't know, well, I'll splash it into Andor. Really liking Andor right now. Well, thank you very much, Rob. You guys too. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take the rest of the weekend off. I told you could do that. I did as well. It's very good. I haven't seen that yet, but I've heard of that's very good. Yeah, I was already there, man. I was already there. Enjoy watching me get old on YouTube. Until we talk to you again. 73, everybody. See ya.